Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a LandFest stream. Today, we are bringing you high school esports coverage of Valorant. This is the first round of playoffs. We have Henry Harrison High School and Zionsville High School duking it out here in a best of three series in the first round to secure themselves a spot in the quarterfinals, which I do believe a couple of teams have received a bye into. There were just too many teams to have a clean full bracket. So we've got two games in these first round of playoffs, but we're bringing you the Henry Harrison High School and the Zionsville matchup. I am here with Sominomi, and I'm feeling pretty excited about this matchup today. How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about it. These two teams, I believe, if I recall correctly, are the 10th and 7th seed here in the playoffs. So a little on the lower side of the bracket, but I do believe that we are in for a good showing here. So that's really what I'm going to be looking forward to. I just came back myself from seeing France qualifiers. So I like to see how things are locally.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be an interesting matchup. Like you said, this is the 10th seed, or sorry, the 7th seed and the 10th seed respectively. And I do believe we have the maps here. Let me just look at this real quick. So the first map we're going to be playing on, that'll be Haven. It'll be Harrison on defense and Zionsville on attack. Similar story with the second map. That'll be split with Harrison on defense and Zionsville on attack yet again. And if it comes down to it and we go to that third map, we're going to be playing on a personal favorite of mine. We're going to be going to Corrode with Harrison on attack and Zionsville on defense. And I think this is a pretty good map pool. I think this is a pretty good map lineup. A lot of good ones here. Nothing tragic that you've got to play on, like Breeze.
Well, what's wrong with Breeze?
I am not a big fan of Breeze. You know, despite that, that's the map I got my first ever ace on. But man, I do not feel. Maybe it's because I only played old Breeze. I don't remember the last time I had to play new Breeze. But regardless.
Indeed.
Before we go ahead and get into this game, I would just like to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for supporting Scholastic Esports in Indiana. You can show your appreciation and support for Zotac by giving them a shout out on your social medias. Also, make sure you join the community on Discord, and don't forget to use the hashtag powered by Zotac or Zotac USA, or maybe even both. Hey, who knows? When you post about anything Scholastic related in Indiana. But with that said, we should be ready to go on to the actual gameplay relatively soon. But I guess in the spirit of an esports cast, what is your prediction for this first map score-wise? Who do you think is going to take this one home?
Score-wise, that's going to be a tough one, given that these are honestly my first time seeing these teams. This, I believe, is my first Valorant debut here on IEN. I've been around for many others, so given that we're going to be starting it up here on Ascent, which I believe is the wrong map, they're going to have to change that.
Yeah, I think maybe they just like started it early or something. I'm not sure. Maybe we got the pick ban info a little mixed up. But hey, it's Ascent. Everybody knows Ascent. This is like the cookie cutter map, I would imagine, for Valorant. I mean, it would only make sense if, you know, it would be this map. But I did just get word we are restarting the lobby because this is the wrong map. So
yeah,
there we go. So thankfully we don't look silly. We got the right info. Thank goodness.
Yes. So you wanted my predictions there, right? I got to see a little bit of the agent selection there. Now, given you could select any agent in the game and bring big value to the table based on how you utilize it. It's not about the tool, it's about the person that uses them. In such a case, I was seeing the hover there over KO, over Phoenix. KO definitely has a lot of usage that could be utilized on Haven. Phoenix, probably a little more so. I would be looking for more smoke coverage, maybe a lot quicker movement agents such as Waylay, Jet, the works such as those. Heck, even a Yoru could be looking for some gameplay. But you got to play your mixes there. If you're great at holding down sites, maybe you play a little more sensibles, such as the Killjoy or the Sage. If you like for those long ranges, maybe you try to go for Deadlock or the others that are of similar design, even Vise to a degree.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree on that. I'm more partial to just picking KO because, well, I've learned quite a bit about KO. I think he's a really strong agent, and personally, I'm just a really big fan of turbo inting with my flashbangs and getting the freest picks imaginable. But sometimes, and most of the time, I guess I should say, I do more heavily lean towards playing more as a utility character. I don't really like to go in off of my own flashes. I like to set up the rest of my team, and depending on who you ask, that's how you're supposed to play KO. But I digress. I think an even split between his util is very important. I mean, you've got the knife for a reason. That's so you can suppress the enemies, get your teammates some relatively easy kills if you're confident in their ability, and if they're confident in their ability to win those aim duels. But I like KO on almost every map. There are a few maps that I feel like he is a little bit weaker on. But generally speaking, I think he's just a really solid pick that can kind of fit into any comp. But I think I agree with you when you say more smoke coverage, maybe a little bit more movement. I would even say you could run a Neon there. I think a Neon could probably benefit you. That wall is going to do wonders for just getting into those sites fast as long as you commit to the push.
Yeah, most definitely. And the one I was waffling there trying to mention was ISO. I think ISO actually is a very similar playstyle. Really great use on a map like Haven, because you could go into the Gulag or his ultimate to go into a 1v1 setup, which actually takes away a defender or an attacker from a push. That can help stagger things, or you can set up, even if they don't make it out of that ult, it takes a moment to pretty much recover, as it shows a spot on the physical environment where the person will come back.
Right. And I think, really, I think ISO and KU can kind of mix match. You can kind of swap one of the agents in for the other. They kind of fit. Not exactly the same role, but their kits kind of allow them to play in a similar vein. ISO definitely going to be a more aggressive type deal, but you can get very aggressive with KO. I mean, my partner describes it as an initiator that is actually a duelist just because of the flashbangs, the ability to completely take the power away from your opponent. And I think that's a really, really, really strong pick to be going for. Just generally speaking, like I said earlier, I like KO. I think he fits in a lot of team compositions, but ISO as well, now that you mention it. I think, I hate to say it about my boy KO, but I think ISO likely is probably a better pick here just because of that ability to break apart holds and segment players, especially with that 1v1 ult.
Yes, it definitely does. I mean, you also have to put into factor here, this is Haven. This is one of the first maps ever introduced to the Valorant, so everyone knows this map like the back of their hand, especially more so given that there are 3 points that the spike can be planted on to site. So you have to be very mindful about your positioning, your rotations, and how defenders and attackers set up for these pushes here.
Yeah, you have to be very, very mindful. Now, I do see the Reyna up on, I believe this is the defending side. So we're probably going to be seeing a lot of aggression once we flip over to that attacking side. But right now, Reyna's probably... the way I like to play Reyna when we are on defense, I like to play a little bit further back. I like to give my teammates those opportunities for the picks. I like to use my Leers. I'm very much a team player when it comes to stuff like this, so I like to pick people who have blinding utilities, zoning utilities, with things like that. But I do think we are going live to the first round, so things should be getting interesting here as we see the Reyna slowly pushing up. This story here gets the headshot, but no pick just yet. Holding the Leer, peeks with it, but there's nobody peeking. Just trying to hold this angle and secure this pick. They've got a lot of good damage there, so eyes are going to be trained on them, and that will slow down the advance. While Cube here holding this angle on mid, trying to maybe find a pick if anybody decides they want to play aggressively, but won't be able to find anything. We go back to the Reyna. just holding down this angle, completely preventing anybody from getting through. And it seems like a very slow game right about now. There's going to be a pick here, a trade between the Omen and the Clove. Gecko will fall on the side of, I believe this is Zionsville. We do have the Cypher playing a little bit further back, using that Omen smoke to their advantage, but the attack is on there, pushing through, but there's going to be a Jet pick traded out immediately by the Clove, who's going to find that pick. Another one traded out. Cypher going to be able to find it. It's a 3v2 in favor of, I believe this will be Henry Harrison. Playing in that Omen smoke is Soba. It's a 2v2 now, but the Reyna coming in from lower mid. Flashbang from KO doesn't find anything. The Reyna is going to be able to find a pick, and now the Sova will close it out. Very well played from the side of Henry Harrison.
Indeed it was. Now, I do have to ask you, just as a quick question here as we are going into our second round, what is your thoughts on the Bandit? It is the new pistol that was added to the this season.
I do like the Bandit. I think it has a lot of great use cases. I see a lot of people buy it on first round, which I think might be a little bit of a waste, because that extra $100 could secure you around in the future. You never know. But second round, you're on the eco. I love it. It is so good. But good outlaw pick from the Reyna onto the Omen should set them up nicely here to win this eco round. Another pick onto the Gecko. That's a wall bang. That's the spike down. The KO picks it up. Jet tries to get in, whiffs the shots, and now they've got eyes behind. Two players playing in this sewer area. Cube pressuring forward, I believe, on the waylay, trying to watch the back of their KO. Reyna going to get a third pick with that outlaw, playing very well with the snipers so far. 3 picks down, potentially could be an outlaw ace on the second round. Omen holding a very nice angle here, gets the pick onto the KO, and now it is just Cube on the waylay, stuck in this corner. There's really nothing they can do here. That's a guaranteed round for the side of IHSEN.
Yeah, in such a tough situation there, you got to understand that once you get picked off at that elbow there, just going into A-long, you need to be able to back off and actually reposition yourself. Unless everyone's moving quick and efficiently with a bit of coverage on smokes or suppression that successfully hits, you have to stay mobile. If you all funnel down the same way, you're only going to go straight into the lion's mouth.
Absolutely. And I mean, right now we see a lot of great team play from IHSEN. Granted, they are getting a couple of simple rounds right here. That recon dart doing great work, spotting 3 inside of main. Takes the aim duel, Marshall shot misses from the Sova on IHSEN. Does do a little bit of damage to the Clove. Now Jet pushing in from mid to behind, going to be able to find the pick on to the waylay. So things will probably slow down for the side of Zionsville, but it's going to be Clove finding the pick on a Jet, and now on a Cypher as well. A twofer in mid, and now this gives them an opportunity to press the attack. Pressing on with that overheal, 99 HP effectively. Taking it slowly, as they rightfully should. So I'm on half HP here, so it could be a pretty simple pick if they can locate it. Going in fast, clearing these angles. Nobody's really on site here. That Clove smoke in the choke, doing a lot of work here. Someone is pushing into heaven, I believe. That will be the Omen and the Sova, actually. One player playing it along the TP into the smoke, though. One player playing behind the boxes. Peeks out into the smoke, double whiff with that outlaw, but there's only one player remaining as Sova finds a second pick with the Marshall. Omen finds 2 with the Guardian, however, and stops the defuse. Playing that angle, now the smoke down to press forward, gets the blind out, still playing in the smoke. A great bait with that util, forcing the Reyna to commit. The Reyna gets the pick. Could they defuse it? They're sticking, and they'll be successful with 2.5 seconds left on the spike timer.
Yeah, that was high stakes, high reward there that actually worked out in the end for the defenders there on the side of IHSEN. I would be very careful having that situation happen again. Simply because I think the Omen took a little too long trying to push through that smoke, which unfortunately did not work out for them. The biggest thing is that they were able to get it halfway. That was a great startup. From there, you have a much shorter time frame for the defusals.
Oh yeah, I mean that helped them a lot. Getting it to halfway, like you said, that's kind of crucial at that point, especially with the Omen having those 2 picks there on the re-entry, trying to get in through main, but didn't work out for him. Unfortunately, the defenders do walk away with the win there. Reyna is playing very aggressively, holding a nice angle on this box, waiting for a push. Meanwhile, the Waylay is just holding mid, waiting. I think the Reyna ult comes through from the side of HHS, so a potential aggressive push coming through. Sova Drone finds nothing in mid, but they don't know about the Waylay, who is holding very close on that window, especially the KO now participating in that as well. Slow rotate, it looks like, towards, I believe it'll be A site, or actually C site, sorry. So used to 2 sites. I'm a Counter-Strike enthusiast myself, but we do see the slow push coming up. Just really got to take their time here, but they don't want to take too long. There's already 36 seconds left on the clock, and it seems like a couple of players are starting to catch on to the rotate.
I mean, that's definitely going to become apparent as you have the smoke there. Fights out in the garage, but no meat to the matter until we get on the site with the first pickoff being found by Cypher.
Plant goes through. It's going to be Clove finding the pick of the stinger now on to the Cypher. The plant does get interrupted, but they're going to resume it with the Clove. There's a pick in garage, I believe, from the Reyna, who does use the Leer on the site. Playing behind the smoke, letting their Omen get in the site from spawn. The Resurrect inside of the smoke tries to push through and find the pick onto the player from spawn, but will not be able to. Reyna handing that defuse over to the Omen, who I believe should just be able to get their ult for this next round. And that was very well played by HHS.
Indeed it was. Now, one thing I want to point out here, this is a big oddity, believe it or not, that you don't see a lot going collegiate forward, is the early use of the Empress there, specifically the Reyna, as they are top scoring here right now. A lot of Reynas actually like to hold Empress for very crucial moments, such as when they're down so many people in a 1v3, 1v4 situation. Being able to see that popped so early, I think it's actually a great thing because you could build it up just as fast.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think the use of the Empress very early on, it does give away your spot if you're trying to hold that angle and be aggressive with it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because you're essentially giving yourself the opportunity for a free multi-pick scenario there. But they didn't swing, if I remember right, they didn't swing super aggressively on those players holding that angle out. I don't really blame them for that. But regardless of how that went for them, they did turn out with the dub in that round, and Omen saw their ult. Sova peeking from A with the op, finds the pick on a Clove as the second. Now the Leer from his Reyna. Nobody else peeking, nobody challenging, and the Omen smoke will fall. KO does have his ultimate here, so if they want to push a site, would be a good time to use it. The Leer through. Omen TPs away just in the nick of time onto the site. Jet playing on top of the box there. It'll be the Waylay who's able to find the pick. Now the spike going down. Omen putting it on the floor. The spray whiffed on to Honey Zero. The Omen for the defenders. Gets the pick and spawn onto the Waylay, but now it's a 1v2 situation where Feed a Guy has to fight the world. Will not be able to. Reyna going to be able to pick up that Elim. And they'll get themselves a 5th round on the board, going halvesies on the defuse. 5-0 in favor of HHS.
I mean, this is a very strong startup for a first half, right? Either side can only get at best 12 rounds consecutively within the first half, and there's going to be a timeout called. And this is probably the most crucial time to have it done because you cannot afford to be snowballed here. What are your thoughts going into this here? Do you think they need to be playing more aggressive or a lot slower for the side of Zionsville?
I do think Zionsville needs to try to tap into their aggression a little bit more. They've got a KO, they've got the Omen, they've got smokes and blinds in their favor, but I haven't seen a lot of the blinds getting used yet. It's okay to use your ult a little bit earlier on KO as well. If you think somebody might be holding an off angle, a close angle, you can suppress them, prevent their ability to get away. They're not playing super mobile characters on the other team, but if you're able to get a pick onto potentially the Jett, who is their most mobile agent, that could be huge for you, especially since that is their one of 2 duelists on that team. You could be doing a lot for your side of the match, but this timeout will end, and they'll have to try and cobble something together to get themselves up on the board. What do you think they need to do?
Well, for the side of Zionsville, I would say priority targets here is definitely going to be the Cypher, actually, because that intel is key on being able to lock down sites, especially C-site. C-site is a always utilized spot for a Cypher, and given that they didn't set it up early enough here, this Cypher is going to be very late coming in and seeing the waylay, now struggling to take control. It's forced to back on off, and this is a free capture of the site.
Yeah, this is really great for the side of Zionsville. Exactly what I was hoping they would start doing, using that movement to their benefit, I should say. It's going to be Kid Guy finding their first pick onto Jett. Honey Zero will also fall, so it's a 4v3 situation. The Lear comes out. Reina's going to be able to find 2 on the side of HHS, evening out the count. Gecko will fall, assist by Cypher there, but the Reina will get taken out by the KO playing back site. Watching the garage, there's a player peeking from, I believe that'll just be C long, both of them trying to play back. Drone gets through, they spot the KO in back sight, runs in front of the smoke, it's taken down by the spray from, actually it's going to be the off shot, excuse me, from Sova. They will not be able to get into the site, however, but they whittle down the numbers. Omen dies to the explosion. So they will lose a player on the side of Zionsville when they really don't want to. And that should help out the side of HHS a little bit more, just because they mess up the eco a little bit on the side of Zionsville, because they get probably a couple more picks than they should have been allowed to. But I don't know if it'll throw too much of a wrench in the plan.
I mean, definitely not. Big thing here is that you do have the defenders up against the wall, right? You have them in a really tough spot, given that their economy is hurting in this situation. So you must play to not just get picks. Even if you were to lose this round, if you trade well enough, it will force them to make buys that will hurt them going forward continuously.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree on that with you, but we have Clove peeking mid here. Doesn't look like there's anybody actively watching that spot. I think they took a shot at the Jett here. Now the Reina peeking a little aggressively. They do spot the player there. It's a collat on, I believe this is a collat from the Sova. That'll find, I believe, the Clove. I'm not too sure who else. I can't really...
Yeah, that would have been the Clove and the, not the Waylay, but rather the Gecko.
Gecko, yes, the Gecko. And now the reaggress onto B site here, going straight up mid. Nobody's on it. They've got the smokes to their advantage. Reina will be able to find the pick on to the Waylay as they reaggress in, and it is a just defensive clinic from the side of HHS as they are able to immediately get back into the site. Going halvesies with the Reina on the spike here. Team full of ults. Their ult economy is looking very, very strong as they are, well, like I said, putting on a bit of a clinic here.
That they are, I mean, when you're looking at these teams, you also got to think to yourself, you mentioned it earlier, you see certain agents selected and it's like, oh, they're doing this for a certain reason. And I think in this case, because you see the defenders doing so well, their attack could be phenomenal when these have swap here, because they are built for a more aggressive pushing style team, while you're seeing on the offside here from Zionsville, they have a similar situation, but it's not executing the way you would expect.
Yeah, I don't think that this is the attacking half that the side of Zionsville wants. I definitely don't think this is the defending half that HHS expected, especially with their aggressive team composition. That'll be Jett going in, able to find the pick on a Waylay. Omens trading out with each other. Jett finding the Omen for Zionsville. be a 3v3 situation with Airplane Zero peeking out from heaven. Believe got the Marshall in hand, or op in hand, my apologies. Whiffs the shot on the Gecko, but I believe the Ares in hand of Cypher. Reyna peeking out, Lear on the floor, the ideal position for it, whiffs the shots, but the Cypher with the Ares from the choke, able to save the day, keep the Reyna up. The Empress does get opt there, so the Reyna will not have that ult for the remainder of this half, I would assume. But they've been playing pretty aggressively, so I'm not too confident in my saying that it'll be for the rest of the half. They've got 4 more to get enough picks for it, and I mean, they're at the top of the board at 16, 1, and 3, so it's very possible they could get enough picks to refill that ult again.
Yes, very much so. The other thing I really want to be seeing coming out here, I liked the initialization of the Waylay ult. It was a great idea. It found some value. You had a little bit of a messy execution there, but the idea was spot on. That is beautiful. You want to make sure you get that going again here, going into this site. But with this slow play, you do give up all this space in your spawn that's going to be taken away from you. I'm looking at the Jet, I'm looking at the Reyna, and they are just peeking it for free.
Yeah, now the Waylay getting into the site. Omen, the side of IHSEN, going to be pressuring in from Garage. Takes the TP, I do believe. Gecko pushes through with the Bucky. Going to be able to find the pick on the Omen. Now Jet finding the Gecko. It's traded out. The Waylay immediately finds the pick onto the Jet. 2 defenders alive. This could be another round on the board for the side of Zionsville if they play this right. They have full site control on C. Reyna, low Lear. Finds the player on backside. Will not get the pick. Gets taken down by the Clove, who's holding the close angle. And now it is just Sova left alive. They do have the ult in their hands, but it would not be a good time to use it, I don't think, as right now you're sitting with an op in your hands. You can maybe play a slow peek, but as it stands right now, you are very not favored to win this round. Best thing you could probably do is just save this off.
I mean, yeah, exactly, right? There's no reason to make this push here. You're up 7-1. Yes, if you lose this round, it turns 7-2. That is still completely fine here in this situation because you want to get as many rounds as you can prior to the swap. And you're holding on to a very powerful, very expensive weapon there that would be terrible to have wasted. And we've seen how they've utilized it going forward here. They're 8-1 right now. They're not getting so many kills, but the ones they do get open up for a lot of these team fights that forces their opponents here, Zionsville, to really try to rethink their approach.
Yeah, Zionsville. I mean, we've seen the KO. I don't mean to say this as in the KO is not doing their job or anything, but we've seen the KO ult there for a while, and if you want to use it, now's probably as good a time as any for this push. There's 4 ults on the other team. You've got 4 ults of your own. You've got the ability to completely shut down their ability to ult on you. And at this point, you're kind of grasping for any round you can get. If you've got to ult for that round, you've got to ult for that round. The key thing here is trying to manage your ult usage. KO will find a pick onto the Reyna. The Sova for the defenders does use their ult. So that's actually 3 ults on the board now. Sova spots the KO peeking forward. Flash comes through. But that's a post-mortem flash. Won't do anything to this Sova. Now Omen for the attackers pressuring through Garage. They should have a C site here. Nobody's in back site. One player pushing through the spawn. Gecko does get spotted. It's going to be Cypher pressuring up through long. Finds a pick onto the Omen. The aim duel is won. Now Gecko pushing back site will get taken down by the Jet. And now the defenders find themselves back on top as Omen finds the closing pick for that round on the Clove. And again, we still got the KO ult online. 4 ults for the attackers. Now, they're in the lead when it comes to how many ults are on the board. I'd like to see a little bit more aggression just overall. But they're making good strides and getting themselves closer to netting rounds.
Yeah, I think they need to take a different approach here. They've played grouped every single time. It's not bad to play group. Don't get that mistaken, because you have to be able to cover yourself. If you know your opponent likes to lurk, take advantage of it, right?
I agree. I agree. If your opponent loves lurking, you got to take advantage of it. And beautiful flank play from the Jet. Finds the KO and the Gecko. Clove will fall to the Sova. Immediately, Jet gets taken down, but the Clove, Rez is using that ult, finds the pick with the jiggle peek onto the Raze in window, and then finds the Cypher. This is a great round from the side of the attackers so far, as Clove finds her third. That's going to be a beautiful pick. That should give them a good opportunity to push in to C, as Sova is all the way over on A site, holding long. So they should have a very easy opportunity to get in, get the spike down, and hold on to site control just in time as well with that waylay ability there. Getting into the site, getting the spike down, and immediately, as soon as it's down, TPing out toward long. Sova looking to push him through garage, maybe. What are you hoping he does here with util?
I think biggest thing with util, you can try for shock darts. It's none of the util is actually going to be useful for you except for that sonar. Big thing you got to really look for is to either force them out and get the eliminations here. That is the only way you win this, because there's already not enough time. It's not a situation you should be doing here. There's
finds one, but can't net the other. Does get a nice headshot onto the waylay, but I think, like you said, none of that util really would have helped too much. I mean, they did get that sonar dart, but doesn't really help them in this situation where they're the only one. I mean, he cleared the whole site, kind of knew where they were just by process of elimination, so just an unfortunate situation being stuck there in a 1v2 with a spike planted for long, two people holding separate sides. You'd get double swung instantly. Even if you get your one, you get traded out immediately. But the attackers do net themselves another round. It's 8-3 in favor of HHS here, as they want to take control. The attackers, rather, want to take control of C yet again. They've seen most, if not all, I believe, actually, of their success on this site.
Yeah, that they have. There's going to be that first opening pick there that you catch over in garage. Now it's going to really have to matter on how this Reyna wraps here. Looking for the shot, just missing the lineup there. As now, here comes the bloodshed.
Yeah, things could get dicey here real soon. Reyna looking to push up through mid here, taking the slow push. Cypher and Garage playing in this Clove smoke. Now the ult coming out from the KO. Final round, but better late than never. Jet will fall backside. KO is going to be able to find that pick. And now the peek on to Cypher in Garage. The assist credited to KO. That suppression doing wonders. Raze peeking up from long. The ADS will find the headshot onto the waylay. Now slow, or actually I say slow pushing, but very fast. Lear will get taken down, the headshot onto the Clove. Now the Gecko and the Colado to KO! Oh my goodness me! Oh my goodness me. Beautiful display from Reyna here as they get the defuse and the ace. It's 9-3 as the half will force these sides to swap. And what a display that ICE is putting on for HHS right now.
Indeed, that is a moment to be had right there. Because between you and me, we both were kind of doubting there was going to be anything happening there, especially how aggressive they were going in. But the lineup with the spray on the shots, just absolutely perfect there in that heat of the moment. That really made them shine.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could not have asked for a better lineup than that right there. The double elim with two players on separate heights, mind you. That spray connected perfectly. I mean, one gets the headshot, the legs get shot from the guy playing on the height. I mean, it's just great. Now, that was a multi-person suppress from the KO on the defender's side toward mid here. The attackers playing a little bit slower here, which is kind of surprising. They do have a very mobile, very aggressive composition for their team, but I guess they're going for more bait out the util before you go hard aggressive, because if you bait out that util, especially from the KO, you get that suppress knife on, you're going to be cruising as you push into these sites, because you've got that mobility, you've got those flashes, those blinds, those leers, whatever you want in your favor. Spike goes down, 5-on-5 retake scenario here for Zionsville.
Yeah, big thing you're going to have to be looking for is how you swing together, and they're going to try that right through towards the C elbow there, but already having a little bit of shots through the garage, trading 1 for 1 there. Next pick is going to be big.
What a movement use from Waylay on top of the boxes there. Will find the pick onto the Sova. Now the Omen finds the pick onto the Gecko. The defenders only have the KO left alive. And that'll be a win etched in the books for the side of IHSEN as they make it 10-3. They are 3 rounds away from winning this first map in this best of 3 series. 3 rounds away from moving on to another map where they start on defense, which will be split. But right now, things are looking very, very good for the side of IHSEN. 23-5, their Reyna sitting pretty at the top of the leaderboard, and Cypher putting in work with those 8 assists down there as well.
Yeah, big thing about some of these characters, it's not always going to be about the KDA, right? You really also make utilization on assisting the team, and I think that's what Cypher does extremely well. Now we see just chaos ensuing as they make the rush in there, going in with the Stinger, able to find one, but not going to be able to find another, as 3 fall from the side of the defenders.
Yeah, 3-pick round. What a play from Cypher. The jump shot, the blind, doesn't matter. You cannot stop that Cypher from getting his one. And that will set the defenders back to 1v4. The Omen playing with the Bandit will find the pick onto the Sova. The Reyna rushing forward with the assist from Sova. Will mop up the pick onto Omen. Now it's 11-3. They are looking to close this one out pretty fast.
That they are. And I mean, this is one where I was definitely saying, like, yeah, these guys here on the side of Zionsville, they definitely feel a little more on the defensive side. But even from what we've seen in just these initial first 2 rounds of the second half, it's not looking too hot for them right now, right? Their backs are starting to get up against the wall. They're starting to feel that pressure. Your big thing here is about sustain and stall, and they really need to try to work together to make sure that helps in order to stop this push and aggression that they keep getting away with here as attackers.
Yeah, I mean, the attackers, like I said, they have a very mobile, very aggressive composition. Now, an early pick onto the Jet does take down some of that mobility, but the Reyna does live. They trade it out by finding the pick onto the Waylay. But they have site control once more. Pick onto the defending Omen, but the Reyna will trade it out by finding the Clove. Now Gecko pushes up from Garage, but you got to clear your corners there. Sova hiding there with the Shorty will find the pick. The Judge from Omen hits so many shots, but it's not enough. Will not find the pick onto the Cypher now. Everybody aggressing onto the Omen. There's only so much he can do. And the jump around the corner from the Sova to find the pick with the Shorty. It is match point.
Match point.
That it is here. Now that we are in match point territory, we do have big buys coming out from the attackers. They're feeling very confident, and I mean, they should be. They've been doing quite well. Defenders, I like the idea of them, how they were hiding around some of these corners. The bad thing that hasn't been working out well for them is who they have sense in each spot. So Waylay, great control use for B. I would rather see Gecko around, say, C site and Omen towards the A, because you want fast-moving characters to be able to play towards center where they can rotate as needed.
Exactly. That's kind of what my thought process was, but I mean, to be fair, if you're better at holding one side, I would rather have you hold that site. But generally speaking, having those faster mobile characters in the center, the faster rotates, team play-wise, is just so much better. The Jet does get through. Marshall in hand will get taken down. The Judge from the Omen on the defenders will be doing work. Clove using the smokes to prevent any further pushes. Honey Zero will find the pick on to the KO. Gecko playing in window here with the Judge. Spots a player moving toward double doors. Makes a footstep, but I don't think is spotted. Nobody hears it. Just playing in this window, hoping to find somebody caught off guard. Cypher pushing forward, clears the corner, takes the shot, and finds the Omen. Spike planted on C. The attackers have decent control over this territory, but with that pick onto the Sova, caught out in Garage, it's going to be a 3v3. Now the off pick onto the Reyna. The attackers, or sorry, the defenders are looking to get themselves another round to defend and try to get themselves a win here. The defuse is through. The aggress from the Clove with the op will net them their 3rd kill of that round. And the defenders are up yet again. Zionsville at 4, trailing by 8 rounds. It's going to take a miracle to get them back in the swing of things and get them into a spot where they can contest the map, but this is a good start.
That it is. I mean, miracles are fine, nice and all. Really, it's going to be hard work, dedication, and consistency here. I liked how we were seeing that rotations coming out from the players, especially how we saw Gecko staying alive towards the end there because of the wingman being able to make defuses for him while he plays off a different angle. And the collateral there, that's going to hurt you.
Yeah, that is going to do lots of damage to your push. They are getting that pick in the garage with the op. Will be that close. Now the rotate, hesitation, reaggress into mid. The Lear through, no push through that Omen smoke though. Sova now through. Spotted with the recon bolt, so Reyna is holding this angle close. Omen can't really do much. The Sova ignores the hold though and presses on. The Lear is out. 2 players alive on the offense. Waylay playing on top of the box. Gonna be a pick onto the Omen though. KO finds their own pick. 1 player left on the attackers. It's going to be the Cypher pressuring in. Whiffs the shot onto the KO. And that is their 3K. The defenders hold on once more. 5-12. Getting themselves back up there. But will they be able to keep this momentum up? Remains to be seen. I am going to knock on wood. Don't want to caster's curse it. But we'll have to see.
Indeed, we will. I mean, biggest thing that you're going to be looking at here is that defenders, they were able to actually take that op from the attackers who made that expense that did not pan out in their investments, and it's really hurting them now. It's allowing for these big opening shots that they constantly have to fear for.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing, I hate to say it, but they are playing a little bit scared. A 3-person suppress here. Good knife from the KO. Goes for the long flash. No short over the wall. Will not find anyone. Caught out. Unable to rotate. The slowdown from being shot is just too great. The KO will fall. Reyna in to pick up the Phantom as they had no rifle on that round. Gecko playing a little bit further back. Just trying to hold a more defensive angle here. The flash going over. Finds nothing though. Waylay holding this angle here, finds a pick onto the Reyna. Good hold there to try and get themselves a pick. That's the spike. Sova playing close, will not get the pick though. Waylay finds a second one in the form of that Sova. 4-3 in players favoring the defenders now as things start to slow down a little bit. Cypher gets the spike and Jet is holding an angle here, sorry, as now they just kind of play for people being a little bit too aggressive.
I like the no from Spruce. He's like, no, don't come this way.
Oh my goodness!
The timing is impeccable, and Gecko's going to get the punish on it. You gotta love it. See, that is the thing. It's that Call of Duty reload timing that they coined back in the day, and that's going to be another beautiful headshot there that we're going to be seeing from Immortal. You're down to 1 player in a 1v4. Omen's going to have to give it their all, play the best game of their life. They've just been spotted. Maybe they take a shot in the dark for it? No!
Oh, Clove! You are on it with these snipers tonight, my friend. With the op, finds the 2 that are aggressing up through long. A nice headshot, and then the finishing blow to the Omen. The timeout getting called, I would assume, by HHS this time, as their lead has been cut down to 6 rounds. They're only 1 round away, so anything they can kind of cook up here could be beneficial. They do have the Cypher ult. They do have the Sova ult. They have a little bit at their disposal. The KO ult could nullify it all.
Indeed, it can. I mean, the biggest thing you have to look at here is these teams have been force buying each time. Now, it's understandable here for the defenders specifically because they have no extra round that they can afford to lose. For the attackers, you don't have to force buy every round. You really don't. You can play some 30 rounds, maybe even get some saves that you can then trade off to your teammates here. You have to think long-term here because you are up by a huge amount. You were starting up 12-3, now it's 12-6, and if you continuously make these buys thinking, oh, we're just going to get them this round, you're not. You genuinely are not. That becomes the snowball effect. That's how you destroy your mental, whether or not you know it. You have to stay focused and see the bigger picture here.
Yeah, I think that snowballing mentality where you're just, we'll get him this round, we'll get him this round, now we'll get him this round. You keep losing those rounds back and forth and back and forth and back, or I guess not back and forth, but again and again and again. you kind of start to, scramble a little bit. We see it at all levels of play where people start to scramble, especially when they're one round out. They're just trying to find their winning strategy, and often they're only changing tiny little things when they need to be making some bigger, more drastic changes to their aggression, to their defense, things like that. Reyna playing in the smoke. The Lear comes out. They'll find a pick onto the Omen. Now the other Lear Jet will fall. Getting body blocked by the Reyna. They're unable to find themselves cover. Sova ult will come through. Nobody picked off from it. Do believe they spotted a handful of enemies. Reyna will find the Gecko playing it toward long. Omen pushes out. The KO ult comes through from the defense. It's a 2v4, but this could be possible if the abilities remain down. KO in a 1v4 situation. Peeking from heaven is spotted immediately. The wall bang attempt could come through, but they don't fight the straight corner. Molly towards sewer will do some great work. Omen taken out. The Clove is back up. That res comes through. KO team flash. Doesn't matter at the end of the day. The peek is through. The flick onto the Sova. They'll find the pick, but they need to get the defuse fast. KO will try to get through, but the shot from the Reyna. 13-6 final score on the first map of the series as HHS walks away with a very dominant first map win.
Indeed they do. 13-6, and there you go, have it in order. 31-8, 23-17 for those two MVPs being Is and Immortal. I mean, those are some great plays there. I think Immortal is your sniper god for the side of Zionsville.
Yeah,
tell me if I'm wrong, because we clearly saw it there.
Oh yeah, I mean they were on it. Marshall, Outlaw, Op, doesn't matter. You give them anything with a scope, they got picks right there immediately. Defending, attacking, doesn't matter. It does not matter. They are on it. They are ready. They are locked in, and they want. You can tell just by the way that these players are playing that they want to advance in these playoffs. They want to go further. They want to take it all from the looks of how they're playing, and honestly, I don't blame them because, I mean, hey, you're in it to win it. At this point, you're in the playoffs. You're here for a reason. And unfortunately for the side of Zionsville, they have not really shown their true potential just yet. But we are moving on to a new map. New map, new you. You got plenty of opportunities to mix things up here.
Indeed you do, and I think this is going to be a very crucial one. Now, I'm not sure who picked what map specifically, and we do know that no sides are switching here from the beginning of these two maps. So now that we are going to be heading over to Split, which is more of like a city urban setting here, that's going to be involving a lot more close quarters, which a lot of teams are quite better at, believe it or not.
Yeah, I feel like I find myself working a little bit better with these close quarters maps, and I think it's just because you have to clear your corners on these maps. If you don't, well, hate to say it, but you're playing spectator mode at that point. One corner you miss could be the corner that sends you into spectator. You have to clear everything. And also that gives you a lot of opportunities to win aim duels. You're just taking peaks that kind of puts you in an advantage, except unless you're peeking a really deep corner, then that does benefit the holder of that angle a little bit more. But generally speaking, on these close quarters maps, as you're peeking, you do tend to have a little bit of that advantage, especially if you take these swings fast. A lot of people expect you to shift walk around the corner and take a slower peek, but if you subvert their expectations, you can net yourself a lot of good picks.
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, big thing that you're going to be trying to focus on here is how you do those rotations. I said the same thing on Haven, right? How you quickly react to the situation that's on hand. Split, a little bit slower than it. It still will be applicable, but it's more about the map control here because it's now down to two sites and it's on a focus on if you have high ground to both sites specifically.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I said this earlier, Split is one of my more favorite maps. I do like the way this map tends to play out team play wise, not even just with how close quarters the map is. The team play on this map can get so involved. Personally, I love it. I love picking Sage and KO on this map. The close quarters makes for a lot of good right-click flashes around corners. You right-click it. The 5 meters is all you need. Right-click around that corner. You get a full blind. I've had so many picks, especially on, I believe it's B site, the one with Heaven that overlooks it. I might be mistaken, though. I always
Well, they
get A
both
and
have
B
an
mixed up.
overlook.
Well, that's
So
true.
the
The
one
one
that's
from
A
mid, I think, is
site
the one I'm thinking
is
of.
going to be the one with the cafe next to it, very much
Mhm.
more industrial textile, while the one towards B side is going to be the more urban next to the garage and
Yeah.
local shops.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking of B site because that's the one where Heaven connects in from mid. But
Correct.
I love that site. It is genuinely my favorite site to hold on Sage, on KO, on Reyna. You give me anybody, I'm holding that site any day of the week, any day of the year, even. I mean, it is just I personally think it's the best site that the game has to offer, personally. But
I
hey,
hear
we're
you.
going into this next game. We'll have to see if these guys agree with my take. We do see a little bit of a shakeup in the agent selection here, though. We've got a Sky and ISO on the attackers, or sorry, the defenders side. We have the KJ. We still have the KO, and we have the, I believe that's a Yoru and a Fade on the attacking
Correct.
side. So not too much of a mix-up on the defenders, but a pretty big roster change-up for the side of the attackers.
Yeah, no, for the attackers here, I actually love the selection here specifically for Split. It is made for scouting, made for high movement, but Arena is going to be the one that first gets that opening pick there with their ghosts in hand. That silencer makes it hard to determine where they are from time to time unless you really pay close attention to your sounds. And this setup's going to be beautiful coming up here from the vents. As soon as smoke drops, which is now going to be coming on in for the firefight.
Got three people hugging the ropes there. Could turn out detrimental. KO finds a pick on Arena. Now Omen going to be able to find a pick onto the ISO. And now a pick from Omen onto Sky. It's a threefer in favor of Zionsville. Omen going to find the mirror pick as well. Honey Zero finding Immortal and the Fade. 2v2 situation here. KJ does manage to pick up the spike from that pretty bad situation. Cypher peeks out, way too aggressive here, gets punished for it. Should have played the info there, played a little bit further back. You have a good angle to hold if you just hold behind that box and wait for them to push out toward Heaven. KO holding up top, Frenzy in hand, waiting for the Omen to push up. Will find the Omen, but does not find the pick. Misses those Frenzy shots. The one tap from the Omen is through. Looking for a spot to potentially smoke. Waiting for the second one to come up here, maybe? Doesn't smoke anything just yet. KJ not looking at Heaven. Maybe thinks the rotate is on. No push from the Omen just yet. Now is through. On the site. Running out of time. Swarm pops. Omen is through. The pick is found by KJ. The attackers are up by one. Zionsville gets themselves on the board first.
No, great work there for the side of Zionsville. That is actually a very big round to win to start this kind of change in the atmosphere here. I mean, you felt it there in that one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Very big change in the atmosphere here. I mean, It is feeling... I think they're feeling a little bit better. A rocky start to this series, but hey, who doesn't get a little bit of the jitters when you start getting into a more high-stakes environment? You get into the playoffs. You get into a situation where every little advantage and disadvantage matters.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And now that they are trying to take for a different side here, B, this is what I'm used to seeing at the upper level gameplay for collegiate even. So I'm liking that we have this kind of initialization. You feel out A side, now you're going to feel out B side and get an understanding of what you're going into.
That was a pretty good dog by the Sky there. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think it caught anybody out there, so the attackers will get into the site with a 3K. ISO is going to have to play a little bit further back. The Yordu flashing the wall, trying to hunt down this ISO. Isn't going to be able to find him. Both are playing up by Heaven. The ISO watching the flank. Omen playing inside this smoke, trying to find a weapon to use. Sticking to the bandit. Yoru goes up the rope and will find the rope pick onto the Omen. Baits the rope again and plays lower. Now watches the Heaven. ISO peeks it. Has to run away. There's no HP. Maybe trying to find a weapon, but telegraphs the re-push. The bait on the ladder yet again. Sorry, the rope. A flawless from the side of Zionsville. They're playing far more aggressively here. Mixing up their agent selection may have been the best thing they could have done right here.
No, definitely. I mean, it's as I said, I love this agent selection here for the side of Zionsville. It is quite literally built for this map here. and we haven't even seen them pull out the fun toys yet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we haven't even seen the best of what all these agents have to offer. This kit is so diverse, yet so... it's a very diverse team kit that also meshes together so well. Skydog comes through the garage, not going to be able to find anything. KO up on the outlaw, so probably going to be taking a slow angle peek. Long flash going through the garage. Pops very late. Sky flash around the corner. Shouldn't find anybody. That smoke should block it off there, but that Omen smoke is preventing the side of Zionsville from pushing too aggressively. Sounds like and looks like the rotate is on. They back out. Going through market to mid here, potentially going up to heaven. Looking at back site. One pick down.
Yeah, not quite sure what they were looking at there. Were you?
I think Omen baited the TP in. And they thought he was holding back sight there. So, unfortunately for the side of Zionsville, it doesn't work out for them. They are going to be down 2 against IHSEN here, but they are up 2 rounds. Hold that mid a little bit more toward the right side if you are KO, but manages to get away just in time. I believe the ISO spotted the KO, so they should know there's at least somebody in mid, but do they know there's 3 of them? ISO going to be able to find the pick of KJ, traded out immediately by the Yoru. Onto the ISO. Believe KO here, just trying to find a decent angle to try and get their team through. They're running through sewers here. The TP back from Yoru on to B. They're going to have to get in fast here, though. The Cypher wire is still there, tripped. The info is there. Now the cage. They've got to get the spike down. They don't have much time left on the clock. But now... extra couple of seconds added to the timer. KO pushing up the mid. Going to be able to find the pick out of the Omen. There's somebody playing up from the top of the stairs. 2 people. Maybe the Cypher with the Ares. The Reyna there as well. KO looks away from the Cypher. A 1v3 for the Yoru, who's at 91 HP. The flash goes out. Far out. The jump in from the sky with the shorty. Will seal the deal for this round. IHSEN has themselves up on the board and cuts the lead down to 1 round.
No, that's a great takeaway there, and you know what? They each got a kill there. That's a team ace there, and that means everyone was able to take down at least one person on the opposing side. And you know, it looked promising going to be again, but I think they got a little hesitant, and that's what did them in. Additionally, the defenders actually reacted very well by stacking heavily towards B once they got that reaction, and they also did great lurking and wrapping through when they realized how many people were sitting there in the garage in front of B site. So now, going back towards A, we could see a reverse in said situation.
That is possible. I do agree. Reyna going to go with the low Lear here, potentially. Nice pick from ISO onto the Yoru. Going to be able to get themselves a nice defensive hold over here on A. Ray's playing toward the back site here with that Guardian. Peeking out, trying to take the aim duel with the Omen. Whiffs a few, but does get the pick at the end of the day. Fades back away toward the back. Now the Fade pressuring up toward heaven with the Judge getting a little bit of damage. It's going to be Cypher mopping up the pick onto KO. Sniper playing back, reloading that Ares, trying to just bide their time. A push coming in from the Fade will get the pick onto the Cypher. 2v2. Now the push from Honey Zero on Omen. On the pick onto the KJ. It's all tied up at 2 apiece with IHSEN finding themselves some great early game picks to really cement their position on these sites.
I know we didn't really get to see too much of it, but I do want to point out there from the Fade, I understand the name is Rust Lord, right? I think that name should be changed to Rush Lord because, oh my goodness, did you see how they took that space there? They saw one mistake from the defender and said, all right, it's go time, went running and gunning.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them at all. That was a really good push there. I mean, they saw the weakness. They saw the ability to just charge in, and they took it right away. Reyna finds an early pick onto the Omen. That Sky Blind comes in just a bit after. Slight damage going through toward the Fade. They spot that push up toward heaven. trying to get a good angle on the Raze. Raze knows exactly where this fade, sorry, not Raze, Reyna knows exactly where this fade is. Oh, but they don't know the Omen is right there on the ropes. That's a 2-pick for KO and Fade in favor of the Omen here. It's going to be 1 player alive on the side of Zionsville. Just the Yodu trying to find a pick as best as they can, especially with the Spectre. Finds nothing. ISO playing toward main. We'll find that pick. It's 3-0, or sorry, not 3-0, 3-2. Stumbling over my words like crazy today. But it's 3-2 here in favor of HHS.
I see you might be almost trying to go for a prediction there, maybe. Your mind was trying to do that subconsciously. But no, you're right. 3-2 there. I think big thing, I'm going to bring this up again. Zionsville, they need to remember, hey, we are a strong team when we get this space, when we're fast. But we need to be ready for a lurk. We've seen them constantly lurk, constantly flank us, right? Maybe we take a couple of people to push up. The others sit back, get ready to receive them because they are antsy and they want to be able to take space.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Just playing to absorb the push is the best that you could probably do for this defense here. Zero going to be able to find the pick on to the Yodu very early on, but that's a 2-for-1. And the 1v1 is out from the ISO on HHS. The peak from a KJ Cube is able to find the headshot. No time to react for the ISO. That's an ult out of the game and a pick in favor of the attackers, as now Raze uses the Leer in heaven. Will find the pick onto the spike carrier in heaven in form of ISO. 1 player alive, just the KJ, who won that 1v1, but is 33 HP right now. The Leer coming out from the Reyna, but the pre-fire Trusty is going to be taken out. And now the push toward the Sky, who's half HP, playing inside of the spawn area here, just playing inside of this tiny little choke. Lot of util from the KJ used on it. They could go grab the spike and rotate all the way toward A if they really wanted to, because they know that the Sky will not be there. But if they want to make a play, they've got to make a play quick here because they are running out of time. Looks like they're going to pick up the spike and try to recommit for A. A lot of audio cues being given here, peeking forward, baiting the plant. Sky peeking through, sees the swarm there, taken out by the sentry. And the peak from the KJ will find the pick. It's tied up at 3 here. This is a far more competitive, far more even game, I should say, map than the previous.
No, this is our game here. This is what we are excited for. This is what we want to see. That competitiveness, that thoughtful process, the tension that the players feel when you go down to these 1v1s. And you know what? A great play there by Queb to be able to actually anticipate that there was a chance they could have been flanked upon, and it worked out well in their favor.
Oh yeah, very early Skyblind going through, gets everybody. What an eagle, oh my goodness. Unfortunately, nobody pushes through, so they will not really get anything. Good dog from the Sky. Should be able to find something from it here. Getting a little bit of good spam. Yoda goes down to about half HP. The attacking Killjoy does have their ult going through. But it goes backside, taken out by the Sky, who now rotates over and is playing it toward the backside to avoid the KJ ult. Has avoided it. Phantom in hand instead of the SMG. Sky flash over the roof. They're suppressed by the KO, but I don't believe they can go wall banged. Cypher will find the pick on a KJ now. Randa going to be able to find the pick on a KO. It's going to be Fade holding close. Could find the pick on the Omen. They will. Pushing forward. Flicks up to find a nice shot onto the Reyna. It's not going to be enough damage to carry him through. It'll be another round on the board for the side of HHS. As now, I feel like I'm looking... These attackers here, their aggression is still up. They still have their aggression in their favor, but I hope that they can try to keep it up here, because it feels like tempo-wise they're starting to slow down just a little bit. You really don't want that to be happening here. You want to keep getting yourself in the driver's seat, keep control of the steering wheel, and make sure with absolute certainty that you're able to keep control over your own momentum. Cube peeks the Omen, holding heaven, will find that pick in favor of the defenders, but now they lose 2. It's a 3v3. Immortal going to be mopping up a couple picks for the side of Zionsville. Looks like they're rotating toward A. So and Ray is playing close together here. The defenders just trying to get something done here, and I If you want to correct myself, they're playing towards B here. Sky will get taken down. Immortal finding, I believe that's their third pick of the game. Reyna going to be able to find a pick onto the Raze here, ulting out. The Lear going high. Could be probably a little bit higher, maybe a little bit more aggressive there, but works out in their favor nonetheless. Omen Smoke playing inside of it here now, waiting for the Reyna to press on. The Reyna should be peeking through any second here. It's going to be a double swing. They're going to find the pick on to the Omen. It's a Reyna versus a KO. Util v Util. The KO finds the pick, and that will give them a 4th round on the board. It's tied up yet again. We are trading round after round right about now. And like I said, scores all tied up. Very well played by that KO there. Getting the info from the aggressive peek and then playing the cover, forcing the Reyna to come even closer so they can take the quick, fast, close swing in their favor.
I seem to be back from the Shadow Realm there, as that sounded like an amazing round. I just wish I could have seen it myself.
It was a very good round. Ended in a 1v1. KO came out on top.
Ooh, sounds like a good time here.
Oh yeah, grand old time with the attackers now pushing up into mid here, trying to take it slow. Omen right on somebody's head, but he doesn't know because of the smoke. The Omen re-peeks him. It's going to be Immortal peeking 0. We'll find the pick. So 1 pick in favor of the attackers. Now they find the pick onto the Sky. KJ going to be able to find the angle. Cube finds that pick. A suppress coming through from the attacking AO. 3 players alive on the defense. The attackers are looking pretty good here. Cage is getting used from the Cypher. Raze peeking up the mid, going to be able to find the pick onto the KO. Re-aggressing and then tucking back into cover with their ability here, using that Lear. Doesn't find anything as the defender rotates, or sorry, the attacker rotates out. Cypher, believe, using that ult there to get info on the players.
Yeah. I mean, you got that spike plant there. Now you're going to be looking for the Nightmare Fuel coming on in. But here on the flank, surprise from above! You're going to be seeing Reyna able to find those 2. Looking for the last one here. Oh, and no! It's going to be the Killjoy that makes the trade.
Tried to take the wide swing there, did not benefit them, but at the end of the day, looks like the defender is going to be able to walk away with this round. That wide swing from the Reyna probably could have benefited from a closer swing. If you know they're there, you can manipulate the angle that they have to peek you with. You are peeking them with far more vision than they're going to be able to see you with. You gotta manipulate that, and especially around those corners, because you can wall bang just about every corner in this game, if I am not mistaken. I've got a couple I got a couple picks on my own just from taking these early pre-fires and using these corners to my advantage, and it is such a good tool to use.
No, most definitely is. The only ones that you truly cannot is where the distance becomes too thick, and the players kind of just know it offhand. You don't really even have to test them too much. You see it on the map even, where if it goes beyond probably that cinder block amount, it's not going to go through.
Yeah. Dog coming through from the Sky, taken down insta, but they do get the info nonetheless of fast flash coming through, trying to spam through the choke and see if they can get anybody. The Yoru clone is triggered. Now the flash coming through, detected and suppressed. A lot of util getting used on this site for no push, unfortunately, for the side of the attackers. Ray's going to be aggressing up through sewer, peeking mid, going to get some good damage. The Lear going through a very low Lear, head level Lear could have been very dangerous to peek with. Pushing through the smoke, maybe finds a pick onto the Omen, has to retreat out. Does not get taken down very early, but immediately, as soon as I say that, the curse, they do get taken down by the Omen on the side of the attackers. So the defenders down there, Reyna, no Lear, no blind, nothing in favor of them just yet. They do have the Omen, but no util up on the board for them so far. Sky, I believe, just used their last piece of util as well. Oh, or sorry, ISO does not have the util, I am mistaken. Omen has plenty left. Apologies. Omen peeking through on the attacker side, going to be able to find the pick on to Cypher. Immortal just gets some nice one-taps through this game. Sky peeking up through Heaven on the defender's side. The attackers up in players. They do have the advantage, but no longer as Fade gets taken down. Great angle from the side of played Zero as they are pushing through. Double right here between Omen and ISO. Going to be able to find the enemy Omen and the enemy KO. One player alive on the attackers. It's going to be the Killjoy, who is sitting up top in Heaven. Does get swatted out by the KJ. sorry, not the KJ, the Sky. I'm getting all these names mixed up. I don't know what's going on with me today. But they do find the picks, and the defenders walk away with it. 2-round lead.
Yeah, tons of names, tons of different abilities, tons of just... There's a lot of little details that goes into esports in general. And this goes for anything. Rocket League, Overwatch, League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics. I would say the only ones that don't truly do too much might be Minecraft, just because you play off the same character. But even then, it's the little intrinsicies. I'm botching my words right here, but the little details that go into each esport that truly make it worth taking the time to understand.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Valorant is just chock full of so many abilities, so many synergies between different agents and everything. The ISO 1v1 will be coming out. Looks like it'll be the KJ getting brought into that, and they get the bonus shield from it. That'll be a nice pick. Raze does avoid the KJ ult. Only one player detained. Low Lear from the Reyna. They get the info. Know it's a shotgun. They're going to play back and let this angle do the work for them. Trying to get the wall bang there, but not far enough to the right. Spike down. KO ulting in to give their team a little bit more benefit. HoneyZero suppressed, peeking in from main. Does have a good angle, but the KO going to be wide swinging it. Will find a pick onto the Omen. Now Yoru going to be able to find a pick onto the Sky. Traded out as Reyna gets the Yoru in return. Cypher and Reyna, the ones alive for the side of HHS. They're trying to defend a 2-round lead here, but the swing from Immortal gets the one tap onto the Reyna. Cypher pressuring forward. Omen playing in their smoke, letting the Cypher come to them. Backs out of the smoke at the perfect time, playing behind the screen. Ring around the Rosie is being played here on this site, and the pick comes out from the side of Omen. They will pass to their own Spike. At the end of the day, they got their team that round. It's the last round of the half. 5-6. It will be Zionsville in the lead. Or sorry, not in the lead. One away from the lead, looking to tie it up. HHS is in the lead.
I mean, the thing is, we are in the last round of the first half, so if you have money, if you have abilities, if you have anything worth a darn here in this round, you better use it, because you won't have it going forward until you earn it back when the sides swap. So these players definitely going to be itching to get this evened on out as we go into the dimensional drift.
Yeah, Yoru coming through does bump the Omen, but gonna be coming out of the drift from right behind him, unspotted, finds the pick onto the Omen. Not like they could do much else. Cage does get whipped, so it's an unfortunate position for this Cage, but the Reyna's gonna be able to push through. Lear could come out with a dog coming through from the Sky. Now the Lear, low Lear gets through, gonna be able to find their pick, and that's a quick round ended for the side of HHS, as all players on the attacking side of Zionsville pushed up into heaven and just got taken down one by one.
Just wow. I mean, wow. From what I just saw there, that was a devastating elimination after elimination there from the high. Yeah, you really got to be careful when you go for those rushes, right? Because yes, you want to play aggressive, but it doesn't do you well if you play in a line, right? A lot of tactical situations will allow you to play with a man in front of another just to provide that cover support, so it does confuse the opponent on who to go after first when they initially see them. But in a game like this, where collateral is a big thing that takes place, you have to be able to play a little bit spread from one another.
100% agree with you on that. A little bit slower push coming through, and it pays off for them. They get the early pick onto the fade. Defenders down one player. Good flash coming through from the Yoru, but they have to back out to 5 HP and back site. They're pressuring through to get back onto the site undetected, and Smoke doing wonders for them, making sure that he cannot be spotted. Flashbang from the KO. The long flash. The timing is off. Not be able to peek with it. No more util from the KO here. Going to have to play by the ropes and just hope that they can find a pick with the angle. Great play from Yoru here on the site. Bobbing and weaving, dodging the bullets. The Sky pushes forward, takes a lot of damage. They'll get taken down by Immortal. One player alive on the attacking side. It'll just be HoneyZero. It should be a very easy pick for the defenders, but as I say that, the Omen takes him out. HoneyZero will find the clutch for the side of the defenders, as 8-5 becomes the round score. And HHS is looking to close this one out. They do have the map lead here. It is a best of 3, and we are on the second map. So if they can win this, they'll advance themselves into the quarterfinals. And unfortunately for Zionsville, it'll be an early exit.
Indeed, this is single elimination here in the playoffs. So once a team loses, they are out and done. And it doesn't feel great for anyone, but that is how it goes, as you had to work your way just to qualify in the regular season.
Absolutely. I mean, you put in all of the effort. Now is the time where you really you leave it all out on the field. You have to try and put everything out there. You just put anything in your mind to use. But as we go into this, it does look like Zionsville will be losing a little bit of health across the board. Yodu very weak, KO slightly weak, everybody else full HP. The attacker is still rocking full across the board. Pressuring through, it's going to be the Reyna finding the pick onto Immortal. Eyes will find a nice opening pick. Now the spray on to the KJ. Playing on the boxes here, we're going to be playing for anybody who tries to push in through Garage. Cypher putting that tripwire up in the back with Yodu holding it. Peek from Sky onto KO, who is peeking up from Sewers. Can't really do anything here. The defenders are going to be really strapped for anything here. Honey Zero finds the pick onto the Yodu, and Eyes will find their 4th frag of the round. Almost an ace, but not quite. Sitting at the top of the board yet again, 22-9-4. And we will have another timeout. What do you think needs to happen with the attackers here?
This is where you need to play the wild card. I don't bring it up too often, but this is where you've become too predictable. You had some great rounds in the first half, right? Then started to get a little bit of away as they started to learn how you played on that attack. Now that Science of Swamp, they remember how you played it on Haven, and it's not too different when you think about it once you get to sites from Haven and in a situation like Split, because in Haven, once you're on site, that is close quarters. Split is all about close quarters. So you need to be prepared to do the unexpected, such as maybe you have someone lurk around a side. Maybe you have someone go to different pushes at the same time, such as you hear a call for B, but you have at least 2 people hanging out going towards A. Maybe one of them takes the high ground, the other goes to the low, so that way you have coverage on either end. And you leave the spike in a spot that can be recovered before you push a point. Because in a lot of these situations, the spike has become unrecoverable. Now that is for if you're attacking. Given the attackers here are having the pretty much a great time, defenders here need to apply what I just said, but put it in the way where it benefits them, where they take space.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, this map is all close quarters, so I would like to see a little bit more manipulation of angles from both of these teams. Not even just an attacker or defender thing. Probably a little bit more from the defenders, because it's going to be harder to manipulate those angles on offense unless you've already got a sight. But at that point, you switch from the attackers to the defenders. Bait flash coming out from Sky as the rotate is on. They all run out, however, so it does get telegraphed. KO playing in mid does not find the pick. Will get taken down by the ISO. Now Fade playing top heaven. Stunned by this ISO utility. Sorry, Yoru utility. Going to be able to find that pick. Omen will be able to find the pick onto Cypher. Now Fade will fall. 3v4 for the attackers here as they will fall yet, or sorry, the defenders as they lose another. Immortal does fall to ISO, pressing through back sight, finds the Yoru, will fall. The swap of the Spectre to the Vandal here. Clone going through. KJ pushes up top, will meet the Reyna in heaven. Yoru peeking through, but it'll be Honey Zero finding the pick as the attackers go up 10-5. Another very large gap in rounds that Zionsville really has to try and pull out all of the stops to close. Now, this is less of a deficit than they were in the previous round, but they're only the previous game rather, but they're only 1 round away to going to how close they got in the previous map, and it really does not seem to be favoring them right now. Their economy isn't great. They don't have a lot of money. And then you look at the attackers. They're sitting pretty.
Yeah, indeed they are here. I mean, a big lead here for the side of the attackers, and now you're going to be seeing from the defenders they're trying to play for some long game strategies here. Like the op in hand could be fine. It's not an op, actually, it's a marshal. So it has to be very precise with their shots to be able to find big impact.
Yeah, I mean, we did see a lot of precision from Immortal with those snipers, so maybe we could see something like that happen again as they switch to the defensive side. Going to be Fade finding the spike pick onto Sky, so that's going to be fantastic for him. Pushes the Omen a little too aggressively, will get punished for it. Honey Zero finds that pick, playing inside of a cage from their own Cypher. Spots the KJ, pressing through, but that will be a pick mopped up for the side of Zionsville 4v1 as they just have to deal with this one Cypher. And I am mistaken, as the paths have already swapped, I believe, so I don't really know what I'm going on about. But either way, we should probably see these players playing to their weapon strengths here, as you know, Immortal, again, very, very strong with those snipers. I'm not trying to discredit what they're doing so far. They've had excellent rifle play, excellent pistol play, but I just think you got to play to your strengths right there. And maybe it was the map. You know, maybe it's map dependent, but you seem to be extremely good with those snipers. I would like to see them run it again.
That's so. I mean, definitely like the idea. It's good. It's a good adaptation here. In such a situation like this, where yes, you are finally starting to have some of these rounds get taken away from you by the defenders here while you're up again. Again, very similar to what we saw on Haven. Now, you got to make sure what set you apart and did you well when you were in the situation and what put you in the hole. In this case, you are on the precipice of falling into that pit that you had found difficulty to claw out of until you took that timeout breather, right? You got to make sure that going into this next round, you keep that in mind and don't set yourself up for a difficult situation.
Absolutely. And now here's something I really would like to see. I would like to see an aggressive round from these defenders. Neither team has a good economy right about now. KO does fall in mid. I was going to say I would like to see KO set up one of his teammates, maybe a Reyna, by throwing a flash high and behind and give them an opportunity to peek A main there, but they're not going to be able to do that. Yoru will fall as well. 3 defenders, 4 attackers, now 3 all for these teams. Immortal going to be able to find a pick onto the ISO. Peeking up toward heaven is Eyes. The Reyna with the Omen in tow. Immortal also on Omen going up toward heaven with the TP. Just trying to hold a good angle here. Going towards ropes. They've got 2 players on the side of HHS holding this. Could Silent grab the rope and go down, maybe try to find a pick there, but that would be a very difficult angle. High ground is your friend always in these situations. Push through from the Fade. It will be the Sky who picks up the pick. 2-3 in terms of players. 10-6 for the round, 30 on the clock. As the spike left now starts to go down. HHS getting full control over this site before getting the spike down. Now the KJ and the Omen have a tall task ahead of them. So they have to retake this site, very heavily favoring the defenders now at this point, HHS, as they've got great angles to play. Sky taking it down, 1 tap from Immortal, peeking in through the site. Smokes going down, going high on the boxes, dropping onto the Omen, but gets discombobulated. There will be no picks at all for the remainder of the round for the side of Zionsville, and it'll be another round in favor of the attackers. HHS up to 11-6, 2 rounds away from closing it out and getting a sweep on the series.
Yeah, it's really coming down to the wire here. I think in such a situation, Fade did not need to push up through that smoke there because they were not even near sight yet. As defenders, it's nice to play aggression, don't get me wrong, but what you want to do is first make sure you have yourself set up on the angle because it's easier for you to move your crosshair than it is to move their body, which means you can react faster than they can.
Absolutely. The Empress comes out from Eyes here, takes out the Yoru clone. They realize that a little too late, so they just try to commit to the spray. Maybe see if they can bait the Yoru out. He will not take the bait. Sky uses the dog to get through the smoke and maybe get some info. They do spot the Yoda that does go down the rope, so that should give them a little bit more info. Omen spots the shoulder of the ISO, holding the box. That'll be a great pick for the defenders here, as it is 4v5 in their favor. We do have Fade going through T-Spawn to try and find a pick here. Just going slow, and honestly, I don't fault them for this. Now speeding it up a little bit, realizing that they've got a little bit of room to work with here. There is a Cypher tripwire here. They're going to have to be careful. Going to have to either give up their position or opt to just trigger the wire. Eyes on the site here. They do have control of the A site. Pick in heaven. Cypher goes down. 5v3. Now the Yoru ult goes through the dimensional drift. They spot 3 on the site. A lot of good information getting used now. Retreating to backside with this util used from Sky. Reyna is still in the Empress. Will find the pick onto the Omen. Immortal is gone. Now so too is Fade. But it's a 3v2. This should be possible for the defenders. And it will be a round secured with Yoru on 1 HP. The rest of his team coming in with the support to get them back within 4 rounds. They want to send this to a third map, and I would love to see them force that third map.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, big thing here is how you play that going forward. I really liked the flank there from Rustlord being taken full advantage of. Now, you're not often going to be seeing your opponents wrap very wide like that, especially if they had initial control of mid. It's always going to be coming through sewers. Always sewers or market.
Yeah, I mean, there's no world where it doesn't come through sewer or market, Eric. And so we go into this next round. There's a lot of util getting used here. Sky Flash does come through. Fade is by screens here, but they would have no way of knowing that. If Fade just plays this angle, they could get a free pick, but peeking long range with that shotgun could be a detriment to them. Nice through the smoke shot from the Yoru onto the Sky. That's a great pick to have as the defenders, and you've got everybody over here on A. You're going to be able to spot that rotate instantaneously. Yoru, I think, maybe knows that this player is on the boxes, but no. Rotates away to rope. The Leer coming through from the Reyna. Pressuring on the clone. Slow peeking, but the Omen Immortal coming through. Honey Zero pops the clone. Spotted immediately, looking to TP out. Will do so. Nobody around as they are all the way over on B site. They know that this is happening, though. Player pushing up from stairs. It'll be a flawless round for the defenders. They're within 3 of tying this match up.
Yeah, great response there. And mind you, they're not even in match point territory yet, which means that if there were to be a mistake, they are able to recover from it here, especially economy-wise. Take a look at the numbers here. You have 3,000, 3,000, 4,000, 6,000, 3,000. On average, most of the rifles are roughly around 2,500 per buy, and then some. So they will be able to afford that abilities and shields going into any round that they lose one.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, with this economy here, it's not terrible. It really is not terrible. It's not great. You're not in a super great position where you're sitting cushy. You have a lot of opportunities to just buy whatever you want. You do still have to kind of take into consideration how your next round could plan out if you lose this, because you don't have that safety net of that extra money. But for both of these teams, I'm not sure if it really matters. We might see again with HHS here. They might be in that position where they're getting antsy, and I'm kind of seeing this with their gameplay. They're getting antsy. They're this close. They are this close to sending Zionsville home with no quarterfinals hopes, with no hope of a map 3. They are up 3 rounds here, and I think at this point they're kind of they're trying everything they can to close these maps out. And it looks like they're gonna be, I think they're gonna be forcing up here. They've got a Vandal, a Bulldog, an Ares, and a handful of pistols in their favor. ISO, I think, looking for the 1v1 here. That's why the Vandal is in hand. Takes it. Will be fighting the Omen. Immortal in the 1v1, playing the left side. spots the frag and will find it. Will find the pick onto Immortal here. So it's immediately going to get treated out, actually, as the Yodu finds the pick onto Eyes. The Reyna will fall. No Lear. Very limited amount of blinds here. You can't be super generous with them. A lot of spam going towards Cube here. The defenders are going to lose another player, but it's traded out immediately. The ISO going to go down to the hands of the Yodu. Playing backside here is Honey Zero in the same spot where they found a pick earlier. Spike down, 2v3. Very winnable for the side of Zionsville. That player hiding in the corner. The Yodu hears the reload. They know exactly where he is. Playing the high ground very beautifully. And the defenders take home another round. It's 2 rounds away from being all tied up. And the economy for the side of the attackers, IHSEN, is going to be in the floor. If they force up here, they have to make sure they win this next round. Because if they don't, we very likely could see this game go in favor of Zionsville.
Yeah, and I actually think this is not a good round to be forcing. This is actually a very bad round to force. And when we say forcing, this is making buys. These are costly buys. So heavy shields with maybe a submachine gun. Better light buys are going to be having a share of their big iron on the hip, right? That you're going to be able to pull around and then play for a steal.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of options at your disposal if you want to, buy something, but remain in a stable eco. Doesn't look like that is the choice of the round. Goodness me, I just thought it really came out there, didn't it? But doesn't look like that's going to be the choice of the round. 4v4 action going on here. The Cypher cage does get through. Molly in the Cypher cage goes very far back to maybe flush out anybody playing and waiting for the cage to fall. AJ does know there are 2 in mid here. Playing the lamp. Alarm bot goes out, taken out. Eyes playing on the crate. ISO just trying to spam through. Spike tossed to the ISO so they can get the effective rotate.
Yes, it's going to be very crucial here that you play for your time. 30 seconds remaining here, and it's all about execution. There's going to be the first there against the ISO as Immortal. Now going to be looking to take some space here in the garage. Spike still is there, in control for attackers. They have it. He is trying to rely on that pistol there as they have an awkward moment with Russ. And now it's coming down to the last 15 seconds. I don't think they're going to be able to make a plant.
10 seconds left.
I don't think a plant is in the books at all. And at this point, I'm not sure what weapons they have. It looks like they both have Vandals. They're going to have to save these, especially with their economy being so poor. They're within 1 round, Zionsville, of tying this game up. 3 rounds could get them a win. Another 3 rounds could send them to a 3rd map. This could be the comeback story of a lifetime. And this is where I really want to harp on getting a little bit more bold as Zionsville. You've got those flashes on KO. You know they really, really like to pressure up mid. Try to get a flash over a wall. If you can't get it high and behind, just try to time it effectively so that they can peek with the flash and get a pick or 2. But it looks like for this round, there is going to be a push into B site. Very slow one, but a push nonetheless. Sky waiting for the ability to use their util. Gonna extinguish that, actually, as KJ plays backside here. Making a lot of noise, could telegraph their position. Hawk getting used. No flash, but they know the KJ's backside. They've got that audio. Flash. Sorry, not a flash. The smoke going down from the Omen. A lot of util getting used. KJ Swarm Grenade will go off in front of the choke. KJ will find their pick onto Honey Zero. Cube getting the first pick of the round. It looks like the rotate is on from the side of IHSEN. They no longer want anything to do with pushing into B site. They've got it on lock on the side of Zionsville. And it looks like Yodu hears the rotate, the full team rotate through sewer.
Yeah, it's once you get to this level, yeah, it's going to be very telegraphed where you're at. And now it's all about execution here, timing, and pizzazz. As we're looking for this play up on high, going to be able to find the first, looking for the second, game aggressive, but not going to be able to make a move off of it as they get punished for it. 1, 2, 3 off the board there, leaving one Cypher left to fend for themselves, and it's not going to amount to anything more.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to find really anything at all in this scenario, and that's just very unfortunate for them because Well, realistically speaking, their odds of winning have plummeted.
Yes.
I don't even say that to be mean. Just statistically speaking, the odds of a W here have plummeted. They are not zero, though. I really want to emphasize this. It is never a 0% chance of winning. Every game is winnable. They have one ultimate at their disposal. They have one ultimate at their disposal.
Yeah, and I mean, that's all it comes down to. It's a statistical matter here, because there's always going to be a probability, as 0 is an absolute no zone. But here we come in. The Empress is not here and ready for action. They're not playing around. They want this done, and they're going to make sure they get it the way they want it. As they're taking a look here slowly.
The AWP holding heaven here. Reyna pushes through, whiffs the shots. KO gonna be able to find that pick. No more here, though, as the cage comes up. The denial is through. They still have the AWP in hand, though, here in a great position, holding up in heaven. The bait from, I believe that is Omen in the backside. We'll get through onto the site. Fade playing very close. Now inside the smoke, this is a great position to hold as Fade, because you have that shotgun. You're pressing way too aggressively, though, and Sky will find that pick for you. A little bit of a drop inside of rope room here, but it's not heard by the Cypher. AJ is pressing on. KO finds the AWP pick. Finds another one. It's a 3K. He's locked in. Finds a third pick. Does get taken down. Cypher playing backside with the judge here. KJ remotely close, or relatively close rather, to full HP. Spike goes down. Yoru is the only player with a rifle here as the KJ ult goes through. They've got time to wait for this to just pop. They're using that sentry as armor as well, which is a very, very great move here. Now, goodness me, the Cypher has picked up the AWP. The KJ is pressing on, has cover, but it's a team ace. Match point here, 12-11. As Zionsville's hopes of getting to the quarterfinals are all up to this. They have to force a third map, and they have to make sure that they play these next two rounds as close to perfect as possible. An AWP on either team, things could go crazy.
Yes, they can. And the big thing you're going to be here is that once you get 12-12, you go into overtime where both sides have to make a win on each side. It's not going to be one and done.
Yeah, that overtime could be a big wrench in Zionsville's plans, as their attack, or their defending side was slightly rough. Or sorry, their attacking side was slightly rough, but looks like their defending side way more their strong suit here. A lot of util getting used from this Yoru on mid, as they know there's a handful of people. Looks like a spike trade coming out from the sky to the Omen. Defenders just trying to hold these angles. Good trade between KO and a Cypher. Be Sky finding the defending KO, and Omen finding the attacking Cypher. Now it's a 4v3 in favor of the defenders. If they can force overtime here, that could give them the opportunity to force a map 3, to give themselves every chance possible. A new map, a new composition, a new everything, to get into these quarterfinals, to send HHS home packing. Because like you mentioned before, single elimination bracket. The peek from Immortal does not find anything, but they do find the info. They get 2 there. The shield taken down. Omen's gonna fall. 4v2 in favor of the defenders right now. 19 seconds on the clock as the timer ticks down slowly but surely. Time is of the essence. It's a 1v3. The last man standing on HHS has an AWP, and we are going to go into overtime at 12 apiece. The comeback story of the ages for the side of Zionsville.
Indeed it is. And I mean, the big thing here is that if you're going to go down, we're going into overtime regardless there, because you're the last player standing. You have an AWP in hand. It doesn't matter trying to save that. You just got to go looking for plays, because here you go. You're now into overtime, and you don't save the weaponry that you had, because when going into overtime rounds, both sides are given only a set fixed amount of economy to work with that both of them very much match equally. So That way, there is no unfair advantage. And I gotta ask, what is your opinion on Scuttle Snacks?
Big fan of the Scuttle Crab. Unfortunately, I do have to do some unsavory things to it, such as taking its life in League of Legends when I want my jungle vision. But can you blame me? I need that jungle vision. But
I mean, as a fellow Marylander myself, I get it.
Hey, it happens. Crabs are tasty, man. What can I say?
Indeed.
Honey Zero is going to fall, so the attackers are down a 1. I believe that'll be Zionsville. They're down Immortal, so their top frag is out of the equation. Cypher is playing back. Waiting, trying to play these angles here. Takes out the drone. Spike is down.
This is going to be very interesting.
Heaven. The Lear is out. The drop is down. The ISO wall is through. The KO finds the pick. They're holding the angle. It's going to be 3 picks for the defenders. Or sorry, for the attackers. Reyna playing in backside. A low Lear is through. Blinds everybody, but it's taken down immediately. And the peek from the Yodu. They will find their round. It's 13-12.
Switching sides. Match point.
I mean, at this point, I think I would be calling for a timeout if there's still one available for the side of HHS. You're seeing it in these plays here that it has not been going too well for them. You're seeing a complete flip on the mental. So many consecutive rounds won, and I think they need a moment just to breathe and try to plan their execution here. They do better on the attack, that's true, but you need to be ready to take this back. More than just attacking, but also defending.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to really pull out all the stops here. You fought your way into overtime. You're trying to give yourself as best an opportunity as possible to force a third map. Anything you can do to give yourself even a slight, tiny advantage will be monumental. The KO knife here should get a lot of picks. Or sorry, not picks, but stuns. But as a matter of fact, it gets none. The knife gets taken down, and the full rotate is on from the attacking side. They will be peeling away, going toward B, and I think the defenders know this. They are aware of the rotate in effect, but maybe not. Not a lot of eyes are trained toward B, and they're noticing a little bit too late as Omen drops down to the floor. The Sky Flash gets through, and they blind themselves. Omen TPs to backside. This is a great TP. The Lear is through, but it does nothing. The Sky peeks around the corner. The Omen Immortal finds another pick. He finds a third. 4v2 in favor of the defenders right now. The Yoru clone is out, but it's a flick up from the ISO to find the pick now onto the KO as well. Going up the ladder, Fade finds the pick. Cypher is the last one standing on the attacking side. Drops down in front of the Fade! And the defenders will walk away 14-12. Goodness me.
All right, I think we're going to have to get a bit more professional here as we focus on in. That is a map won back by Zionsville. It is now 1-1 in the series, and you know what? We have a game on our hands. These teams know what's at stake, and they are ready to continue making this push.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing very well right now. It was a slow start, a slow burn, but they got themselves back in the game. They found their zone, they found their composition, and I think also they found a map that they really, really like. So I'm interested to see how they're going to play on this next map. But because we are going to a third, we're going to throw it to a very fast 2-3 minute break so we can get some water. You can get a snack, maybe get yourself some water, go to the restroom really quick, get yourself nice and comfortable for this upcoming third map in the series between HHS and Zionsville.
We'll see you in a moment.
And welcome back, everybody, to the continued coverage of this first round of playoffs between HHS and Zionsville. Still remains me, Eki, and Saminami in the booth with Soul on production. We are going to resume coverage. I do forget what map, so do let me reference this very quick. We're going to be going to Corrode, another favorite map of mine. I do like these maps where there's a slight open part of the map, and then it gets really close quarters once you get to these sites. So I am looking forward to this quite a bit. This is the third map. Maybe some of you are just tuning in. Zionsville came back in forced overtime against HHS to get into this third map. This is their shot at making it to the quarterfinals.
Indeed, it is. I mean, big thing that we're seeing there is how they were able to make a comeback there. That was really, really important. It was very crucial for the longevity of this series here. And I think they really are trying to take it all the way here. This is showing how much grit, how much dedication that these players are trying to put into this game, and that they understand what's at risk here. If they let things get to their head, or they just say, you know what, I'm tired. Yeah. You can be tired later. It's always important to be focused on the now, because you'll have time to rest when you make it to your destination.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you want to rest, you gotta save it for after the series, after a map. Not even after a map, actually. You just have to save it for after the series in general, because if you're resting after that map, maybe you take a slight mental break. Yeah, that's just going to happen once the map ends anyway. But you can't take your foot off the gas until the show is over. And this show is still very much on. It's a third map. It's the penultimate game between these two teams that will decide who's having an early exit from these playoffs and who's going to continue onward to try and cement themselves in this bracket and really try to carry on further. And I would just like to say shout out to the production for letting us have that quick restroom break, and shout out the players for being patient with us, because I know hearing, hey, the casters need to go to the restroom can really disrupt the flow. So we would like to thank them for being patient with us.
Listen, you know, you could say it's a disruptive flow. Oh, I don't like my energy stop. In such a situation, you're going to map 3. You already had a very tough overtime round. This is one where you do need a breather, and you need to take this time where there may not be a lot of action going on, but you still have your mental with that momentum going, and you can try to plan things out, visualize what you're going to do, prepare your mindset, your comms, and anticipate what your execution is every time you go into these rounds, because it's going to be the same thing over and over. Sure, on paper, in action, it gets very messy. Things never really go as the plan.
Yeah, I think something, you know, I said you never want to let off the gas, and that remains true. I mean, that's true regardless of the situation. If you're in a playoff situation like this, no matter the game, doesn't matter. You never want to let off that gas. My biggest concern when I say it can be a bit annoying to have that break in between, no matter how short it is. I mean, timeouts can also do this, is you have a certain amount of energy physically and mentally. And typically when you're in the game and everything is happening at the pace you expect it to, or even that you don't expect it to, you're able to catch up very quickly. Those two parts of you are almost always in sync. But physically speaking, that energy can wear down very quickly when you're not constantly engaging with the game. This is just something I've noticed with a lot of people over the couple years that I've been casting things, is that pauses do affect a little bit more than I think a lot of people think it affects them, because there's that disconnect between how fast your mind is going and how fast your body is reacting to how fast your mind is going. You've got two things that are going different speeds, and you have to play catch up. And some people are much better at catching up to that than others. Some people, it doesn't affect them at all. But a lot of people do experience a little bit of that disconnect between the things they're thinking about when they're playing the game and what they're actually doing. So hopefully, hopefully that break didn't throw too much into there, or throw too much in the way. But we've got this agent selection going on. How are you thinking about these teams and their compositions right here?
I mean, we're going to be taking a look at the teams actually swapping sides to start on this map from the very get-go. So it's not going to be Harrison on the defense to begin with this time. It's actually Harrison that's on the attack and Zionsville on the defense. And if you take a look at how this is going to be playing out, I like the Vise. Vise has pretty much a better reactive wall compared to, say, Sage. So it's good use defensively here. Biggest thing about Corrode, biggest thing I've noticed from both collegiate even into pro play, as I've seen nationally, is how you play with intel. Intel is crucial on this map because of how long the sightlines are. You have to either anticipate where your opponents are by setting up prior to receiving, both on the attack and defense, or you have to have utility that does it for you while playing around smokes. If you don't utilize either, you are setting yourself up for failure. No questions about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that I can say to rephrase that or say it any better than you said it right there. You have to anticipate. This map has crazy sight lines, and we see the 5-man rush trying to get, well, maybe not rush is the right word here, but the 5-man through middle is trying to do something here. Immortal is jump peeking it. That smoke does prevent the vision of all players who are there. Looks like they're going to be getting up through garage. Going to be some util used by Waylay, but Divine's going to be able to find a right-click pick onto Waylay. Traded out immediately. Fade playing on the crates here by Long. It seems a little bit slow. Immortal going to be able to find a pick onto the Reyna as she pushes on to the site. 3 players down for the attackers. HHS not having a great offense here. Immortal finding another 4v2. They've got double the players, double the util. Sova finds 2, the Fade and Immortal. As now 2v1 here, still very winnable for the defenders. KO pushes out and finds the pick. They're going to get half the defuse potentially, or are they going to stick it? Looks like they'll be sticking it the whole way through.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's nice to be able to trade it back, right? But it's not always going to be the case. And I do want to point out a little thing here. I believe this is a different KO player, if you see. Unless these players are utilizing streamer mode, which I don't believe is the case, we have a new player in the mix.
I am not sure. I think this is the same KO. I think
Think
this
so?
is the. I think so. I mean, I do have the memory of a baked potato, but I do think this is the same KO. I could be wrong. Maybe our production can correct us if we are wrong, but I do believe it's the same one. And I would like to see some more aggressive flashes from this as well, because over the games, I haven't seen too many flashes getting used. Now that Lear does come out, great spray from the Vise. Going to be able to find that pick onto her plane 0. Reyna will fall as well. So it's a 3v4. This seems like a very unfortunate start for HHS here. This is not what they are envisioning. We do have Yoru coming in through garage, the Outlaw in hand, trying to find a pick here. That spike is up on top of the box, so you don't need to get aggressive as the defenders. You can hold and absorb as they come to you because they don't have a choice. They've got to come in and try to get this bomb, or this spike rather, one way or another.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, the big thing that you're going to be looking here, in a place like A site, that's commonplace, but here's the shot that's going to find it immediately. Almost gets the follow-up there, but misses it by a hair, and there's only 1 remaining now. Not a whole lot you can do.
Great molly. Fantastic molly from the KO there.
Indeed it was. I mean, you were finding that you lost 2 in the beginning there, right? When that happens, you gotta be rotating, immediately playing for rotation. This is where attackers, they gotta play it split, because mid control is very nice. It sets you up to rotate, but these first angles between A and B site are actually extremely crucial. A more than B, because B site has a lot more corners you have to peek around, while A site has a literal one way that they both meet immediately.
Exactly, and I think the really unfortunate part there is they just lose the spike instantly. It was a spray from the Vise that knocked it out onto the crates. A nice shot onto the KO in mid. That will be a free pick for a little bit of an easier entry into B. They're getting in, and it looks like they'll have it pretty heavy-handedly, only losing one player for it, and they trade it out immediately by finding the Yoda, who still has that outlaw in hand. They're going to be planting it for the archway, it seems. Vi is going to be able to find the pick onto the Sova. Taking out that Gecko util on top of the site here. Ooh, and no spray really connects there. Reyna going to get the Bulldog pick. I don't know what I'm talking about Gecko util as well. I don't think there's a Gecko in this game. I just saw a little goop thing, and I'm like, oh, that's Gecko. But
Yep.
Fade going to be able to find a pick here. It looks like Reyna will find there one. It's a 1v1 here. Fade has that. Judge can get in and stick it. This is possible, but they don't see the Reyna on the corner of the screen. And it will be a round of the bag for HHS. They're on the board and down by one. Very, very possible to come back from this little of a deficit. Could tie it up. I mean, we saw it multiple times where the rounds just kept getting tied up on the previous map.
Indeed, and you know what, you were right about that. That is the same KO. I do want to take a moment to say my apologies, as I didn't get a chance to see KO's name quite too often, so it definitely threw me. But we do have a timeout being called here, and called early. We are not by the side of HHS. This is a early pause due to technical difficulties here. So hopefully they can get that under control within the minute they have. I'm curious as to why the full timeout is being utilized. I mean, I like the idea that you've taken a couple rounds back and forth. Now you could take this time to plan, as you've been doing a lot of the same things throughout all the maps. Both sides have, to try to spice things up here.
Absolutely, and it is a bit odd that we're taking the full timeout for a technical issue that took maybe 5 seconds to fix. So I guess they can't know that it's going to take such a little time to fix until they take that time out. So can't really blame them. Can't really blame them too much. But if there is a shorter timeout for them to have taken, I would have liked to see them take that. But if you got to take a timeout, might as well take the long one, because if you fix it soon, you can also talk strategy, just really nail it home what you're going to be doing with these next couple of rounds to make sure you remain in the lead.
That is the case there. Now, we do see some shots coming out through mid here, like the pressure. You have Immortal just doing these corner peeks. It's a very risky thing to do, but it's something everyone has to learn to do in order to make sure they can try to grab some intel when you don't have intel ability.
Absolutely. Those corner peaks are going to get you a lot of crucial intel, like you said. You don't have any intel abilities? Well, you best start learning how to jump around corners, because if you're not getting info on mid, especially as a mid player, that's going to come back to bite you. Now, we will see Waylay get a pick onto the Fade that is immediately traded out as the Odo is able to find a pick. It's a 3v3, and the spike is being planted on A. Immortal is pushing up through long, taking these corners very slim. Peeking wide here, that Omen smoke does come through. We still have the Omen mirror on both teams here. Loud footsteps from the Reyna running through the smoke. Doesn't even bother to clear it. That's taken down a 3v2, now a 2v2, now a 2v1, as KO's going to be able to find a pick. Now they push through Immortal. Omen on Omen violence, and that will be a pick. It's going to be 3-1 in favor of the defenders.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one here. You've seen Zionsville really coming alive here right now, and I think it's just the carryover from what we saw on Split. It's that they are more comfortable as a defensive team than they are as an attacking team. And I've seen many teams that are like that, just naturally processed with knowing the angles on the defense rather than for the push. I mean, I myself, I like to play defense a lot more than attack. I think most maps in games like this are defender-sided.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these maps are very defender-sided. Some of them are a little bit more even than others, but I think a map like this very much favors the defenders, especially when you start trying to get into B. I mean, this is just like, you have 2 angles of attack here, maybe 3 if you want to try and get up through heaven, but that's going to cost you a lot of time. Yodu peeking very deep, does find the spike here. KO does not want to re-peek. That info on how many players there are on the follow-up is going to save that life. Going to play the angles here and just try to maintain control of the site. Mollying in the smoke is a great way to control that space as well. Had no idea to know if they were going to start rushing through, so great use of the molly. Maybe would have liked to waited until the footsteps, we heard them for sure, and then toss it down, but then you risk somebody getting through, so it's just a little too risky. I cannot fault the use of that util whatsoever. It denies the space and forces a possible rotate. Waylay jumps over the fade and gets that pick in mid. 3v4. Defenders are short-handed and could be even more short-handed here soon as their omen is very low.
30 seconds left.
That they are. I mean, what you're doing right now is great as defenders. When you are down in numbers, you play for time. You play for impossible angles for the attackers to push. You make sure that they don't feel like they fully have control of this map, because they don't at the end of the day unless you allow them to.
10 seconds left.
Ooh, a nice one tap from Immortal there onto the Waylay. Spike going down. The drop from KO. They have to get onto the site here. Vise is going to find their one up in spawn. KO will fall. Reyna's going to be able to find that pick, but it's a 2v2. 20-0 on the low ground on this site here. So Reyna playing that angle, just watching Heaven from the corner. Not the best angle in the world, but it is kind of hard for them to spot you from Heaven as well. They have to peek out pretty far. Going to be dropping onto the site. It's going to be 20-0 able to find their pick. Now the Omen on Omen trade will happen, but Reyna, the last one standing, will be able to get another round on the board for HHS. It's 3-2 still in favor of Zionsville.
Yeah, I mean, they're up by one. They lost that round, but these are some very, very well seasoned teams for having been able to play against each other between these past couple of hours. They have begun to pick up on the little quirks and cues that each player shows and naturally begins to continue repeating just based on a habit.
Yeah, and I mean, it's those patterns that you've got to learn to exploit. Once you notice something about a team, you can exploit that pattern infinitely because they're more inclined to just, inadvertently repeat these patterns. And as soon as you notice it, it's going to be really hard for them to break those patterns as well. So, I mean, it's just going to benefit whoever notices the patterns first. If her planes are peeking mid, not finding anything here, though. It looks like everybody is holding a sight. Sees the KO. No shots ring out from the KO, and that's a free headshot pick. Now looking top mid. Waylay's going to be pushing through. Going to be able to find the pick onto the Yodu, as now the full team is pushing in. Omen peeks out. That's going to be Immortal, trying to get the pre-fire. The corner wall bang onto the sniper, but not be able to find anything. Jumping around the corner. Going to be putting the smoke down for the Vice. No, they will bait the smoke. No smoke down. Spike down on B. They've got to do a full rotate here, and they are being held down by her plane 0, but they have to give the angle. They can finally push through mid. It's going to be Fade coming up with the Bucky, getting a shot now, 2 onto her plane 0. It's going to be a pick. 3v4, a little bit more possible for them to retake this site here. Immortal peeks the corner, wins the fight with the Sova. Goes down ever so slightly, but the pressure is on. They've got to advance fast. Spike beeping faster and faster. That Reyna leer buying them some time. Playing inside of market. Nice shot from Waylay onto the Vise. This should net them the round. Another one onto the Fade. That is a round in the bag as Omen is the last one standing on the defenders, and the score is tied up at 3 apiece.
I think this was unfortunately a very misplayed round. I'm not going to sugarcoat it here. You had 4 ultimates available for the defender's side. Out of the people remaining alive in this situation, you had Fade, you had Omen, and you had Vise. The best situation here, after you set up for that smoke, is you gotta use that Thorn Pit, which is Vise's ultimate, to be able to actually force everyone to be into a pistol fight on your opponent's side. That opens things up greatly for you to rush in.
Yeah, I mean, once you get that opening to send that rush through, it all crumbles down. And now they spot the sniper watching them on mid. They go for the cross, which is really risky there. But I guess they anticipate. Ooh, a nice baited out shot. Her plane 0 is just not able to get that timing down. And Omen is playing it very well with that jump peek. I believe we saw or heard a knife suppress get, I think, 3 people. So the attackers are definitely going to have a rough time trying to get through. Vise does spot the Waylay. The Waylay jumps over and does not net the pick. 39 HP. The Vise plays back, a wise decision, knowing that a backup is probably going to be peeking with them. Runs around the corner, will be the Waylay. They get the trade here, potentially 2. Honey Zero is going to be able to find the Vise and the fade. Immortal will fall on the side of the defenders as well. 2 players alive. Now 1, it's just the KO who's trying to take the fight with her playing 0 in mid. Goes to grab a different weapon. 3-3 here, the score line, as KO is caught all the way out on B. And there's not really a whole lot that they can do. They've just kind of have to play this slow. Maybe they can get a pick onto somebody who's just a little bit too aggressive. But pushing into site to defuse is just not an option.
No, I mean, I've seen people try for it in this situation. It doesn't mean it always works, but in this specific scenario here, especially when you're considering that we're 3-3 right now, so far these past 2 rounds have gone in favor of the attackers, you need the save. This is a big save to keep this weapon around going into a thrifty round.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Ooh!
That is really tragic for the side of HHS. They're losing that extra player. Does knock their eco down a little bit. Waylay does have a lot of money here, so it might not be too bad, but the biggest... Oh, they're going to full send the buy to her playing 0. They're going to buy an op. And it looks like the side of Zionsville is going to be ecoing a little bit here. They do have a Vandal. The KO is the one with that, but everybody else is either up on a pistol or, we have 1 Bucky up here. I think we have a Ghost, a Bandit, and a Sheriff, so a lot of diversity in the weapon picks here. Her playing 2 baited shots, not taken. Could be a peek here from Immortal, but they rotate out. He spotted that player holding mid very early on. The recon bolt does spot the fade, so they're going to have to back out. Waylay jumps in, misses the shot, and so too does Fade. That wall is still there, preventing them from pushing in. So the rotate is on.
Yeah, but not after losing your KO there, who is playing a little too close to the sun. I definitely consider our Bucky user there extremely lucky because they did not move, they did not really react. However, they scared the Waylay with just a wild shot, which made their brain react before their body.
Yoldu is holding the box, a personal favorite angle of mine, but can't land the shots onto Honey Zero, and the wallbang will come through. Free Fire is getting shot out through garage toward mid. Vise will fall. It's a 2v4 situation right now. They're down just the 1 round. Fade pulls out the knife and can't get the shot off onto the Sova, who will find the 2 picks necessary to mop up that round, getting themselves a 2-round lead over Zionsville, as we now have another timeout coming through.
I mean, this is definitely a needed timeout. After that tech pause, it seems things kind of turned just, oh, here we go. They're getting very comfortable. And I mean, you do see her playing 0 is actually taking their time with their shots, which means some of the shots that could have been taken, they didn't go for, but that second to breathe and then pull the trigger is how you maintain your accuracy here. It is all about control. You need to be in control of your movements, in control of your actions, and you need to understand that being so clear-minded, calm, and focused allows you to heighten your senses to be able to react to the small details that stand out.
Yeah, being able to keep a level head is going to be so crucial here, because I can guarantee you both of these teams are nervous right now. You're in the final map of this series. It is do or die for these rounds. If you don't win this, you leave the playoffs. These teams know that they have to leave it all out on the field to get a dub and move up further in the playoffs. And if they can prove themselves here, I have no doubt that they'll have a shot at going all the way. But what really matters is just trying to keep yourself calm and keep yourself in a mindset where you're not getting in your own head and you're allowing yourself to pressure effectively. And really, you're trying to get the opponents into a poor state of mind and get them to start panicking a little bit more. And I think that's what we're seeing HHS slightly start to do to Zionsville as they increase their round lead.
Indeed. I think the other thing here Zionsville does is they give up a lot of control of this choke, and here we go with the Waylay all going on in, trying to also go with the Leer. A lot of actions happening over there on the other side. You're going to see that you lose the Yoru to start, as well as the KO. That's going to be both defenders down, as now the Omen's going to have to try to make a play coming on in, but Hunter's Fury is going on out, not going to be able to find any marks as the spike is planted.
Yeah, Honey Zero watching heaven here. 2v5 situation. We could have a flawless coming out. Oh, but the caster's curse. Immortal finds the pick onto the Sova here. Now rotating up toward heaven. I do believe they heard him jumping up here. If Honey Zero is still watching this angle, this could be bad for them. We do have Fade coming up from behind. They do have a player looking at this angle, though. They have the util out. The judge is in hand. It's going to be 5 shots out to take down her plane Zero. Fade is the last one standing. Has to peek into 2 players holding this site. The drone. Actually, it's not a drone. It's just a floating orb of something in the air. But with Fade just having that judge, there's only so much they can do. Honey Zero will find that pick. It's 6-3 in favor of HHS.
Yes, that is... That's a tough situation to be in. You have the judge in hand. It's great for close quarters. Not when you're flanking like that. You got to be able to have a Vandal, a Stinger, You got to have something that provides more rifle and range distance. Even the Stinger, I take that back. That's not even a great one to use unless it's close quarters. Highest rate of fire in the game, but just uncontrollable spread that goes everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you're in a pinch, the Stinger, I mean, it's definitely going to do better than the Judge there. Just because you're using a shotgun, you're forced to take long-range encounters with it, trying to flank in there. It's just unfortunate with the Judge in that situation, but could make it work. I mean, they managed to find that pick on her plane, so not the worst flank in the world, but definitely would have been a little bit easier for them if they had anything other than the Judge. Even a Sheriff, maybe a Bandit could have helped them there. Wallbang attempt coming through from the Reyna, but too distracted on finding that pick. That's going to be Immortal to be able to find the tag team play onto the Reyna. Sova pressuring from the flank here. Fade using their util will get taken down by the Sova. 3v4, the attackers up in players. The numbers advantage is in their benefit. A nice shot from the Waylay Eyes finds the pick onto Immortal as they now have control over the A site. They will get the spike down, and they'll have a lot of angles to hold here, but only 2 of them will have people pressuring on. KO is coming up through mid, might have the drop on her plane, peeking around the corner, knows he's there. A couple of shots ring out. They do tag him, peeking the corner, trying to play the angles to their benefit. The miss, the molly, 20 HP on her plane. Ult coming out. The op is through. And they'll find the pick. It's 1v4 in favor of HHS. Yoru in mid is playing back. There's nothing he can do here. The situation not too dissimilar to one we saw earlier. Pushing the site's just not an option.
No, it is not. And it's tough. It really is tough here. You feel like you should be making plays. You feel like you should be getting some star power going on into this, and you're just not. It's really coming down to, I believe, space and probably coordination here. Communication is always going to be involved with these games, but coordination is key. And right now we're seeing a bit of miscoordination here from the defensive side in these past couple of rounds that has been hurting them greatly, as well as just a hair second late in reactions when the opponents spot one another.
Yeah, I mean, this reaction time, it's crucial in games like this. You got to be able to react on a dime, and obviously, you know, you can't expect them to react the second they see the pixel on their screen. Oh, yeah. But these reaction times between these players, it's leading to these fights being a little bit more drawn out, I think. I mean, that's not even to be a diss. That's just, you know, a fact of the matter. they're reacting to each other very, very slowly across the board. Some of them are having great, moments here. It's working out for them. And it is a fair... Oh my, Waylay, you cannot do that. As I'm talking about how the reactions to players are going here. That's a nice shot to have. That'll be a good pick for the attackers. 5v4 in their favor as they just hold these angles now on the defense. Ice finds another. It's going to be a spray kill from Immortal on to Honey Zero. Omen on Omen pick. Smoke is through in the arches here. Peeks the Reyna, whiffs the shots. Now the shots onto the other, or the Reyna again from Vibes. But there's only so much they can do. The Waylay jumps around the corner with a shotgun. Gonna be able to find that pick. They trade it out immediately. Actually, that's the shorty, so they don't even have to trade it out. They pick up the Vandal. It's just Fade in mid here. They'll have to play back again, valuing their life. They don't have an opportunity to go for a defuse. And that's been the tale of these last couple rounds. They're down by 5, and Fade will fall in the post round.
I mean, you look at that, you also lose Waylay there, but I think they actually got more value out of that, getting that elimination there, because now you've forced a bad situation to be a worse one here, as you don't have that weapon to go into this next round. And we're looking at the last round of the first half here. It's snowballed out of control, and it's not getting any better. There are now 2 ops in hand here. This is going to get dicey.
Yeah, I mean, things are getting real tight here. You're working with very, very slim margins if you are on the defending side. You've got to really step it up on your offense. And for a team that we've seen who seems to be far more comfortable with defending, this map has not panned out in their favor the way they've wanted it to at all. And for HHS here, it looks like they're posturing towards B. They're waiting for the smoke to fall. It looks like, oh, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. It looks like they're going to be rotating out Honey Zero, the last one, I believe, to, actually, no, it's going to be the Waylay falling behind, who is the last one away from the site. Immortal is walking, actually, I believe that was the KO. I'm not too sure who was pushing up towards mid there, but it's going to be Fade who will find the pick onto Reyna. That's going to be a fantastic pick to have. Get yourself up one more round before the halftime swap. Omen TPs away as players rush in front of him. Smoke in the arches here, playing inside of it. A close angle. Waiting for a push. Sprays do come through. They're going to be able to find the pick onto the Sova. 3v4 in favor of the defenders. Zionsville up in the driver's seat at this point. 23 seconds left on the clock. A good fatal here should hit too. Ooh, it's going to hit 3 of them, all 3 of them. They're using all of their util at this point. Honey Zero TPing all the way over to B site, so now the rotate's going to have to come on from the side of Zionsville. Oh, a crucial whiff from her plane. That is not what you want to have there. The Yoru ult onto the site, getting a lot of crucial information. Vibes will find a pick onto Honey Zero. The KO rotates through the spawn. Is going to get taken down by Eyes. Waylay. Oh, will get taken down here. And with one player standing on the side of the offense, the defenders will net themselves another round as the sides flip.
I mean, it was a great idea there with the Waylay. The pressure was on. Defenders played that very well. You got someone on site. You have someone covering for it at a different angle. So you have to make a quick decision. Do I go and stop the defuse, or do I take out the bodyguard first and then go for the diffuser? Either way, they both have weapons, and it's going to be a very tough situation that will only work if you hit your shots immediately, precisely, and one after the other exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where no matter who you shoot first, no matter who you are trying to find the pick onto first, you've got to have a good transfer of the spray so that you can get the second person. Or maybe it's not a spray. You have to have a good flick onto the other person, which might end up turning into a spray. You have to be on your A game there when you've got a bodyguard and a diffuser both playing together. Yoru goes in, gets taken down by the Sova. The right click to the spam will net that pick. Going to be taking the Omen on the attacking side of Mortal to half HP here. So 1.5 picks as far as I'm concerned. This could be really good for them. KO will find a pick onto the Reyna. 3v4, benefiting the attackers right a bit now. But as soon as I say that, now it's a 2v3. The spike goes down. KO has to play this corner. They know exactly where he is. They're going to peek through. They will get the pick on to Honey Zero. But it's going to be Eyes, the Waylay, mopping it up for Plane, trying to just hold this angle. They spot the fade, pushing through, tries to flick over. They do get the mouse over, the cursor, the crosshair over in time. But no shots will ring out, and 9-4 in favor of the defenders now.
Yep, you have that first round there, and now this is where big momentum plays can come through for the attackers here. I'm not really liking these buys. I'm going to be honest. I want Russ Sword not to be buying some sort of shotgun every single round. I need to see them just play for a thrifty round here. Probably try to pick up some weaponry here because you need to not waste economy early on.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I understand if, you know, you're worried about having low frags or low fragging potential, you start buying these cheaper weapons that reward you with more money so that when you do get picks, you can have something in the bank. You know, you just have an ability to get easier picks, but you got to trust yourself to get something with those rifles. You got to trust yourself. Now, going into this, it's 2 players alive already for the attack. They push in from Soma, a double pick from behind with the Bucky. 10-4 for IHSEN. They are 3 rounds away from closing this one out and moving on to the quarterfinals. As a timeout comes through.
Yep. I mean, you get a timeout per half, right? That's pretty much what's standard for many leagues, and you got to be very intentional with their uses here. And in this case, this is the moment to use it. You have to be able to try to take a breather here, reset your mindset as you take a look. How are we going to be able to tackle the situation here? And so far, B-side has been just brutal to deal with because of all the angles, close and far, and they haven't really found an answer to it quite yet. And we saw that when they were playing for retake coming through the attacker side spawn in the first half, how just the smoke being off a bit gave control to the high ground. So I think if you're going to be playing for an aggressive play, you need to make sure that you line up smokes that truly will provide cover towards another angle or to blind people, forcing them out of position to be able to make a push.
Yeah, I mean, they just have to crack this case open. It's been very difficult on the side of Zionsville for them to really kind of break down what their opponents are doing. They don't really have a lot of info going off rip, despite the fact that they have that KO in their possession. It seems like they're always going where this KO isn't, and it's just really unfortunate that the KO isn't able to get much value out of their kit just because they're getting so unlucky with the pushes coming their way. It does look like, though, we have an A push. That is the ideal push for the side of IHSEN here. They've got pretty good space that they can take here. Their locations are revealed here. The Yoru going up long. It does look like Immortal will find the pick onto Sova for the defender. So it's a 4v4 situation. The defenders arriving through spawn. The no scope from her point zero onto Yoru, but they do get the pick onto the Reyna. The corner jump. Beautiful play from Immortal. Goodness gracious. Beautiful, beautiful pick there as they find their 1-2v3 situation. The defenders in a hard place right now as the attackers look to get themselves a round on the board. KO and Immortal holding this angle here. Zero puts a smoke down, blinds. Can't get through. The spam from the KO is more than enough to get themselves within 5 rounds, but they're still pretty far out.
Indeed, they are. We've seen them make a comeback before. It could happen here again. This is exactly what I was talking about. You saw how they did that little initial scouting and they said, all right, instead of trying to rush forward, we make sure they can't see us as we rotate through. And we got to make sure that we check these corners quick, get in position fast, and be able to outmaneuver them. Even if we split up, 2 going left, 2 going right, it is a recipe for success here.
Absolutely, 100% gonna have to agree with you on that. Oh my goodness, Sova with the immediate pick on the defenders. It's traded out. Reyna will fall, which is actually gonna be pretty devastating for the defenders here. Having losing that blind will be pretty detrimental. Sova is going to be able to drop that spike down in mid, finds the pick on the carrier. Honey misses a lot of the share of shots, but it doesn't matter. The Guardian from the Waylay comes through. They're going to be jumping over the head of the Fade. They're going to get the pick. The Fade just whiffing a little bit too much there. KO gets into the sight on the attackers, but it's a 3v1 situation here. I've seen crazier clutches than this. Long flash through the arches. Molotov in the doorway. This could be good, but you don't want to peek it here. They hold the corner, but they get wallbanged through it. 11-5 for the defenders.
And that is going to be that round there. Now getting, as you mentioned, 11-5. There was a great idea. The thing that really hurt them is after they lost their second person there at the choke, they didn't move. You cleared the corner, right? Take the corner. You got to take it for cover. You do not ever want to be found out in the open. It goes in many FPS games where if you go reloading out in the open, you're just asking to be punished for it. I've seen it happen too many times. I tell people all the time, you need to find cover if you need to think and breathe.
Yeah, if you need to take a second to process, reload, do anything that requires you to maybe take your mind off of what is directly in front of you, you need to find cover. Because a lot of the time, especially if you're reloading out in the open, that you have audio cues that give away the fact that you are defenseless. You do not want to be caught out like that. They will exploit those audio cues. The blind comes through from the attacking Omen. Immortal trying their best to give their team a lot of space, and it will be successful. Fade using some util does get shot down immediately. However, looks like Reyna going to be able to find a pick onto Immortal, trading the Omens here as Vise finds their own pick. Sova ult comes through, does get a lot of good damage to the people hiding by box. Fade will push in through Garage and find the pick onto the Reyna. Sova does find one pick with that ult, but it's a 3v2 situation. The defenders are short-handed here, but if they can find a pick on this player in Heaven, that could net them something good here. They don't need to find a pick on the player in Heaven, though. They're going to be able to find a pick on a player holding sight. Another one. The Waylay finds the pick onto the KO, and now they have to find out where the last one is. They know it's in Heaven. Waylay is on site, sticking the defuse. Sova is the bodyguard. Godu TP's in, but the reaction from Waylay, they get the pick. 11-5, waiting for the defuse, and now sticking it. 12-5 here. They're one round away from going to the quarterfinals in HHS. Hopefully they don't get too antsy. They want to close this out.
That they do. And that was a very tough round. I mean, very tough. You got a lot of space taken. You were able to get the spike down. Great. From there, it really came down to post-plant positioning. And that didn't go quite as smoothly as we all saw. It became very chaotic. And I think it was a bit ambitious for the Tobert. Could have gone for a fake there rather than so aggressive as they did.
Yeah, I mean... Oh, what a pick from Waylay there. That's a good early frag to have. That will slow the attackers down quite a bit. And now they're caught between a rock and a hard place as Reyna is pushing up behind on the defending side. Here's a footstep. They know that there's something coming their way. They don't want to cross this line here. They're going to hold the angle, waiting for some comms from their team, waiting for maybe to hear the footsteps pushing on. It's a 4v4 here that Reyna is behind, which makes the site execute a 3v4, potentially even a 2v4 if players do not rotate in time. It's going to be the Sova going down on the defending side, 4v3 in favor of the attackers.
There. Yep, and you're going to be seeing on the spike plant here, there's the trade against Honey 0, so attackers actually have a bit of an edge here. Now it's in a 2v4, but if anyone peeks this angle, this could turn the tide of this momentum.
Yeah, things could turn around very quickly here. We saw this happen in the previous map. The defender, Reyna, will go down. It's a 4v1 situation. Hurtplane 0 takes his eyes off the scope. re-peeks the KO and finds the frag, however, but there's no way, there is no chance in any multiverse reality, whatever you think, that this man could get into the site and defuse this spike. It will go 6-12, and Zionsville will chop away at this lead that HHS has built up. But whether they will be able to continue the snowball is up in the air.
Oh! That was a little close. Just took a bullet to the shoulder there. That was very, very close. But yes, there was no way to make that push there unless you were so confident, so lined up with your shots that you would have ego played into that. And even then, there's no reason to. You look at this economy right now, everyone but her playing Zio had to make a buy up here. So saving that buy was actually very crucial into this round.
Absolutely, and the early drone coming out from the Sova does spot the Yoru pushing forward, spots another person behind him, but doesn't really get too much info on how many players are here. Shock dart going out, no recon dart. Importantly, they're holding on to it. Yoru through, dimensional drift, spots the Sova in long, pings him, is holding the angle on top of the Sova. Now spots a player on site. Dimensional drift over, peeking the two in garage. We'll find one in Vines will actually find that pick, but we'll get taken down by the op. We're playing 0. We'll find it. 4v3. The attackers yet again in the driver's seat as they have to push two low health defenders. Beautiful play from Ice here. This could go very, very wrong, however, as they cannot get to KO to res him in time. And the game is over. HHS with a 3K to seal the deal will walk away to the not the grand finals. What am I talking about? I've been casting too many grand finals matches recently. But they'll walk away to the quarterfinals. Not as grand, but still pretty grand. They'll go to the quarterfinals, not the grand finals. But hey, maybe we'll see them in the grands. Maybe we will.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we're very eager over here, right? We won. This was a long series, and it felt like, yeah, this was it. This was like the end-all be-all. So I completely understand, like, just us naturally feeling like, this is it. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that is said and done now. Finally over there, map 3. The series ends 2-1 in favor of HHS.
HHS really stepped it up there. I mean, they played a great game throughout all the maps, especially on that second one, but they just could not close it out, and they had to go into that third map and finish it out there. I'm sure that's not what they wanted to do. I'm sure they wanted to close it out in 2, but hey, a win is a win, regardless of if you had to get it in 3 maps or 2 maps. But I mean, at the end of the day, things have to be said about how the side of Zionsville was trying to go into it. They, I think, maybe got into their own head because they were not as aggressive as they were playing when they were trying to force that third map. And I really think that's what came back to bite them.
Yeah, ultimately it did in the end. But before we go here, we would like to give a quick few shout outs. First and foremost, to LandFest. Believe it or not, this broadcast is part of LandFest's Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LandFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We do provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams that we cover, and your generous donations make it all possible. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast. If you do appreciate our work, be sure to scan that QR code and donate today.
And additionally, before we head out, there is one more thing we would like to plug. That is LOS Portal or League OS Portal. If you are in college and you are interested in playing esports, you can search hundreds of college esports programs at portal.leagueos.gg. There are scholarships for players, shoutcasters, and more. So list all of your talents. Verified college coaches are searching LOS Portal now to find people like you. I think that should do it for all of our plugs and for this broadcast coverage. I have been Eki with Sami Nami in the booth. hopefully bringing you some more Valorant coverage soon, because boy, was this fun.
Indeed. Tomorrow, we will have another match, but it's going to be Overwatch, so be sure to tune in then for that best of 5 series. Until then, stay frosty, everyone.
The Reyna coming in from lower mid. Flashbang from KO doesn't find anything. The Reyna's going to be able to